Wow. Welcome. Welcome to what's going to be a really amazing, fascinating, evolutionary evening. Not only because of the topic and the speaker, because of all of you. I don't think newbies would come to an Activate Your Dormant DNA workshop. So I think you guys have been around for a while and you kind of know what's going on with the spiritual evolutionary path. And you're probably committed on a deep level. And so you're here as well as the people online that are watching us now. And I just want to welcome you with all my heart. I'm Deborah Giusti. This is the Temple on Pleasant Hill. And we hold sacred evolutionary gatherings here and also bring them to people all over the world on live stream. And I'm the kind of person that goes out to the edge of the new paradigm and uses myself as a living laboratory to see what's out there and what is really the most evolutionary information transmission next path that's coming through, because that's what excites me and why I came to the planet at this time. And then I come back and I love to share it with all of you. And so this is what's happening here tonight. Lori Spagna, I've known for about 4 or 5 years now. And she's been on my panels at the Conscious Expo, New Living Expo. So I've gotten to see her over the years. And she is the real deal. She is definitely committed on the path, front line for the evolutionary ascension process that's happening now. And what we're talking about is the activated evolutionary ascension process that is happening on the planet now. Not on the planet, but the whole planet. And that's why a lot of you are incarnated right now. This is a hot time on the planet. This is a time where you can really evolve to the next level. And so all this information is coming through, all these tools, all this transmissions are coming through. And the DNA is a big part of it. As we know, we've been told the story about junk DNA that doesn't do anything. And so we kind of have the idea that maybe there's something else going on, that maybe if we activate DNA 12 strand to another level, we're going to be a more activated person and have more abilities and connection with spirit and connection with multidimensional realms and all of that. So that's a part of what's happening. But Lori is a best-selling author, speaker. She's worked with thousands of people personally, and she's an ascension guide. And she has many guides that work through her, and she's on a highly evolved spiritual process herself. She's down the road a bit, and she's coming here to tell us what she sees in terms of the ascension process that's happening. And for me, she's been one of the most clearest teachers that I have found, that when she speaks, because I know inside what's happening, and she sort of clarifies it, as well as her abilities to transmit and heal. And we're actually going to have a DNA transmission here. So this is a full-on experience, along with all of you and all the energy in the room and the people online. It's going to be a pretty amazing evening. So we're going to take a break during the middle of it, so you can stand up, but if you need to use the restroom, it's back there. And there's also some water back there if that's what you need as well. But I'm just so happy you're all here, especially you on online. And very happy that Lori decided to stay and say, I want to come and host at your temple. It's like, woohoo! So I want to warmly welcome Lori Spagna.
Guys, this woman is amazing. I just have to say, first of all, thanks to everyone for being here. I'm really excited and so glad to be here. And you're all beautiful. I'm so grateful. But I just have to acknowledge Deborah I've known Deborah for lots of years. And I don't think I fully realized what a powerhouse she is until I came here. And I really got it. It's just amazing what you're doing. Like, wow. So, well, thanks again, you guys. Let's all start off with just a mutual agreed intention that we're all going to receive the absolute highest and best for us, what serves, supports, and assists us in the highest and best and most benevolent ways possible for our highest and greatest. as individualized beings and also as a collective, a group, both live, listening remotely, and in delayed playback. For the highest and greatest of all concerned with harm to none. Can we agree? Yeah.
Yes.
And that what you're meant to receive tonight, you will. Even if you're not consciously aware of it at the moment you receive it, because that often happens. We don't really realize that what we're receiving in the moment, our brain cannot process it in the moment. And then we start to look back and realize how evolved we've become, right? So, okay, so, all right, with that intention, let me give a little flow for the evening so everyone knows what to expect. So I'm going to start off with just kind of finding out where you're at. I already have, I get what's called downloads that come in, and I'm told what the group is meant to receive, but it's also so in flow. So we start off with some conversation. We get a sense of where everyone's at in terms of your knowing and what you're wanting to receive. And we do some just delivery, like where I'll just give you some really good, rich, juicy content based on where you're at, what you're wanting to receive, what's coming in. Then we do just a lot of Q&A, which we can kind of mix that in. I love Q&A. And then we'll take a break, as Deborah said, and then we'll come back and we'll do a meditation with healing. There are DNA activations that will come in, but my sense is you're also going to have a really great opportunity to ask for some specific things that you're working on. So it's whenever I do these, I've been doing these kinds of things for like 10 years now. Well, more than 10 years I've been doing DNA activations. I started off just on myself. And then I started with small groups of friends. And what I've come to know is it's always different. And it's always based on who comes, who meets us, who joins us. But I can tell you there are so many goddesses that have come in the last like few hours because they know that we're gathering. And they come from the non-physical realm because you cannot imagine these beings in the non-physical realm are like, they line up when we get together in groups like this, in a sense, because they have so much to offer us. And when there's a collective, it's like, this is almost like the way I translate it is like, we want to get in, we want to get what we can give in because there's so many people who are joining who want this and who are ready. So, okay, we'll greet them more when we get to the second part a little more because we'll get into the prayer part. We'll start with the prayer, with the meditation and healing, and a lot of it will be channeled. You'll see me. I go into quite an altered state and it's awesome. But that's kind of the flow of the evening. Make sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. So let me start here then. Who in the room, and welcome to the people remotely, who in the room is familiar with me? Who knows what has been around? And of the people who are familiar with me, how many of you have ever had DNA activations or been on any of the speed activations call? Okay. All right, good. So then you guys have a sense. So for the people who aren't familiar, I'm going to give you an abbreviated version of where this is all coming from and how I got involved in doing this without spending too much time talking about me because that's not really what we're here for. But what happened was in about 15 years ago, my brother died of an unexpected drug overdose. And up until that point, I was living what I call a very 3D life. I was doing a really good slave driver program. I was just all kinds of unhealthy behaviors, excessive, addictive types of behaviors. And when he died, I started for the first time really getting messages that I couldn't ignore. And I did that thing that we do, you know, I kind of like tested it and retested if this is real, validation. And it just became too hard to ignore. And the thing was, I was seeing things that I wasn't seeing, and I was hearing things. I could hear his voice, and sometimes I could feel him. And there were even some physical things in the physical world that were just impressing. And overall, the message was like, I'm your wake-up call. I'm your divine appointment. It's time for you to get on path, because otherwise you're headed down the same road I was. And so I took the message and I quit my 6-figure slave job and became a dog trainer because that was my own personal inner mantra. I wanted to be of service to animals on a global scale. I didn't know what that meant back then. Dog training was the next step. And I started to get really happy right away. Like from one extreme to the other, like misery, you know what we do when we're not happy, we drink, we smoke, we use behaviors to compensate for the lack of happiness. And the moment I made that switch, that stuff started to go. But as I started to get happy very quickly, my then husband was like, I'm out of here. Like, you can't get off those 12 bottles of pharmaceutical drugs. Like, who do you think you are to think you can be happy? Who do you think you are to, and what is all this about dead brothers talking to you? He was just out of there. So I packed up and I moved to Maui. And anyone into astrology?
Yeah.
All right, well, I had my Pluto Saturn transit going through my first house. Well, it was 2 years from my 11th house, 12th house, first house, and they kind of moved together mostly. That was no fun. Anyone a Capricorn in the room? Okay, my heart goes out to you guys.
Yeah, moon. Sun and moon.
What's that? Sun and moon?
Sun and moon.
Yeah, it's not a terrifically easy time.
Aquarius rising.
Yeah. So this had 2 years living in Maui. It completely transformed me. It's a transformational thing when that's going on. So I had what we would call a couple of near-death experiences. I was working with a master who he himself had 9 real, documented death experiences, one of which he woke up in the morgue banging on the freezer for hours in the middle of the night because he knew how to bring his consciousness back into his body. So because he had spent his whole life studying in the Himalayan mountains with real masters who live in the mountains, never come out, right? We don't know those people in this reality, Anyway, I studied with him and he helped me at one point in Maui to have what's called a little death, where he knew how to take out the essence of me out of the physical world. I had a complete it was beyond out of body. It was out of this reality experience. And there were multiple kinds of experiences like that in Maui. The real pivotal game changer for me, even more than that though, was that I had what I call an induction experience. I call it induction because it was completely benevolent, where my star family teletransported me onto a ship and completely reintegrated and did all these what I call downloads. And I didn't know what they were. I kept asking, what is this? What is this? And it was, you'll know when the time comes. And it started just to come online. Everything just kept coming online. The next thing I know, I was doing DNA activations. And anyway, this is where it all came from. This is where it all originated. And needless to say, I took lots of classes in healing. Like, I became a Reiki master and so many modalities. Akashic, teach the Akashic records. And the part I fast forwarded through it's just trying to short through the story, but the animals were huge teachers for me. Because when I became a dog trainer, I was working for a guy who spent 20 years training government service dogs. And when he left the military, he started his own dog training business. He hired and recruited me, and he would make me do everything videotaped. I couldn't think. You had to get on automatic pilot. But what would happen when I wasn't thinking was that I would hear the animals and they would say, I'm going to teach you. So much of what comes in is from actually the animal kingdom. And they're just some of the teachers, Anyway, that's my story in a nutshell. I've been doing this now for almost 15 years, and I find it amazing that our DNA is now scientists are really starting to uncover and discover more of what we've been doing in the non-physical realm with the DNA, what I've been doing for almost 15 years now, easily 12 years with groups. And it's now showing up in the physical world. In other words, in 2012, that was when scientists documented that those other 10 strands that we didn't even know we had, because we were being treated as idiot savants, so to speak. If you weren't a scientist, you weren't even eligible for this information prior to 2012. But that's when they documented that we have 10 strands that are dormant, not junk. And then only a few months ago, they've documented that there are 4 more codes. That is amazing. Why do you think science has discovered that there's 4 more codes? Because we've been pulling it out from us, activating it, and now it's impressed on the physical world. Does this make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
4 more strands.
What's that?
Did you say 4 more strands?
Codes.
How's the difference?
Well, let me get into it tonight, but I'll explain it all. So can you stay with me? And I promise that will come up. Before I go there, what I want to do is just want to get a sense of where you guys are all at. So first, let me ask, who who's really consciously participating in Ascension? Do you guys understand this? Okay. Is there anyone in the room who doesn't understand this concept, Ascension? No. Okay, good. That's good. Awesome. And then how many, you're smiling? You don't? It's okay if you don't. This is the place to ask. Okay, that's okay. That's good.
I just
That's all
kind of
good.
was like, you're coming with me.
Oh, I'm so glad. All right. All right, that's awesome. It's okay because I think when I talk about Ascension, I feel as though I share a perspective that's uniquely mine, and that adds to what everybody already knows. So it's okay. So we'll go over that. And then who in the room has already done, I know not obviously the people have done stuff with me, but have you done other DNA activations? Are there people in the room who have ever had them before? Okay, a few of you. All right, so then who's brand new to DNA activations? Okay, good. You guys are going to love this. All right, so let's do a little groundwork. We'll start there. Sound good? All right, let's talk about Ascension. So first, Ascension is this concept where humanity is being given an opportunity to wake up out of an old paradigm that's collapsing and elevate our consciousness, align ourselves with a new paradigm, which has existed all along. But because we were unconscious of it, or unconscious, we were in this density, heaviness, we didn't really know it was available to us. And it started becoming available during what we call the harmonic convergence. Anyone familiar with that? Right, and especially in the 60s, Woodstock, people were starting to wake up. And we had some real initial evolutionary leaders during that time who I call them part of the original 144, which really almost doesn't matter, except they're early, what I call early light workers who were starting to wake up. And we know who they are. They're MLK, who knows them? JFK, Martin Luther King, Gandhi even earlier, and Ram Dass, John Lennon, right? Most of these people were assassinated because there definitely is a conspiracy, but we're not going to get into that tonight because it's too much of a diversion. So nonetheless, this cannot be suppressed, right? And as time has continued in linear time, more and more of us are waking up. So this is Ascension. It's a process where all of humanity gets to wake up. And all of us get to come into alignment with this new paradigm that we're going to talk about. Sound good so far? Okay, interrupt me if you guys have questions. So let's talk about old paradigm, new paradigm, where we've been and where we're going. And some of you will have, anyone saw me at the Conscious Life, at the New Living Expo? Okay, so you may have heard a little bit of this, but for foundation, let's say it again, or some of it will be new because it just, whatever comes out. So where we've been, what's the frequency that's controlled us? 3D. Well, that's how I define where we've been, 3D. What's 3D?
Survival, power,
Patriarchy.
Yes, all that is true. Let's understand 3D from my definition is the 3 dimensions: height, width, depth, space, even the concept of time, which is just the concept. Time is space. Today, tomorrow, there's a space. Today, next week, next month, space. Okay, so that's a dimension of its own. Height, width, and depth, space. And in a sense, time exists within there, but time's really not a dimension of its own, even though some people think it is. Then what are the other 2 dimensions? Sound and light, which includes colors, gradients of colors, right? And we know that there's colors beyond what we can see. But generally speaking, we talk about the spectrum. Remember learning in college or high school? Roy G. Biv, which isn't even accurate, by the way, but nonetheless. Okay, so that's 3D. So what is the primary frequency or energy of 3D? You guys know this. Fear.
Fear, yes.
Yes. So what are the energies that vibrate in harmony with fear?
Anxiety, worry.
Anxiety, worry.
Are they under competition?
Well, they're all vibrating in harmony. So we just want to understand, over here, we weren't living consciously aware of this stuff. We were just participating in it because we were vibrating in harmony with it. So fear, anxiety, worry, doubt, depression, struggle, lack, limitation, grief, all scarcity. I used to call planet Earth the planet of lack and limitation.
Yeah.
I don't have enough. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. Okay, all that stuff. Now, this entire reality, other factors of this old paradigm, third dimensional paradigm, is it's all based in hierarchy. Now, this is one of the codes in the DNA that's very important to become aware of, better than. So, for example, we can see hierarchy. Famous people are more important than unfamous people. President, more important than the Senate. Boss, more important than the employee, right? This is all hierarchy. And that's coded in the DNA. It's a reptilian. Do you guys understand the reptilian concept? So this is an old paradigm, and it exists in the reality we've been living in. This will feel better once I explain where we're going. Okay. So we just want to understand. We know where we've been, but until we really can look at it and be like, oh yeah, I've been operating like all of this has been going on in my life, and I've been thinking it's normal. So what else is normal in this paradigm?
Competition.
Shame.
Competition,
Separation.
separation.
Shame.
Separation. Let's understand separation, why it's normal. And yeah, shame, that's a frequency of fear. So, but separation, Russia, the United States, we can see this playing out. Black,
Domination.
white,
Yeah.
God. Okay, so if
You
you
didn't
said
hear me. Domination.
well, that's
We're
right.
trying to get
Control,
basic.
domination, manipulation, absolutely. And we can understand what else is going on in this paradigm with separation. Democrats, Republicans. Now, by the way, this form of separation is coded in the DNA too. It's a reptilian code. It's called divide and conquer. Right? If the masses are divided, they will be weakened. We can see Jewish, Catholic, Muslim. I mean, it's all separation. This is all concepts of separation. So separation is not a code in the DNA, but divide and conquer is a code. We want to clear that out. So we
Male
get out
and female.
male and female, gays and straights, lesbians, gay. You know, it goes on and on and on. Even sports games. You understand? It doesn't mean you can't enjoy sports. You're going to enjoy it in a different way, in a whole new way. We'll talk about that when we get here. But so, what else exists in this old paradigm? And this is important when we get into the DNA. Death. Because here's what happens in this paradigm. If someone dies, the appropriate response is, oh my God, how horrible. But over here, it's very different. But you understand you have to kind of adapt if you're dealing with someone who's in this consciousness, right? But death, disease, and divorce, they're normal in this paradigm, right? 3Ds. And so disease is normal here. And when you're talking about the death, there are death implants and death seals in the DNA. They have to be cleared. There is aging is normal over here. So we are aging. We are in this reality. But here's what I know about working with the DNA. I've been working on the aging programs for about maybe 5 years, maybe a little less than that. And they're very entangled because aging is linked, not only is it programmed in the DNA, but it's linked in to linear time. I'll explain linear time a little better, but it's entangled with many different forms of beliefs and belief systems, codes, programmings. And so this is normal in 3D, but if we're wanting to clear it, it's not just one pill, you understand? That we can just pull out of the DNA. We have to get all of this entanglement. Okay, we'll talk about that more too. But we understand this is all part of, and you know, fighting is normal here. Judgment is normal. And we know we get tangled into it. You know, we're judging something. We can judge everything. We can judge, you know, it's so easy for us to fall into judgment because that's all entangled in our beliefs and our belief systems and the programs and how we operate. And we don't even realize it when it's going on. But all that stuff is normal. And you put on the TV, you know, and it just loops you in and tangles you in. Make sense? One of the things in the DNA that's really challenging is what I call looping programs. An example of a looping program is when you're challenged in your life by something and you keep thinking about it over and over and over again. No matter how much you think about it, you just can't think your way out of it. And eventually you're exhausted from all the mental masturbation. Has anyone had this experience? And you want to do the right thing, and you're like, and eventually you're like, I'm just caught in a spider's web here. It's called a looping program. It's also called webbing. So, okay, most people have no idea this is going on. It's just the way of life in 3D. Yeah? Okay, let's talk about 5D because that's the fun stuff. So, what is 5D, this new reality that we're going into? I call it 5D, but it doesn't matter how you label it. It's the new paradigm. So, number one, what's the primary frequency? Love and peace and joy. Now, over here, we really don't know what joy. I know for me, I've been a little challenged with this lately because I've been finding myself in so much joy. I noticed this on my last birthday, actually, my very last birthday, which was June. I went to a party and it wasn't really a party for me. I thought it was. I walked in and I realized I have too much joy for this room. I have too much joy for the people I'm around. I didn't realize that that's how I was operating. And I realized that night, of all nights, like I walked in, the first thing I heard was like, oh yeah, that's right, it's your birthday. And I thought, wow, people at my frequency would never say that to somebody on their birthday. And I watched myself the whole night try to smush myself and become less than I was. But I had so much joy. And I noticed I spent almost 6 months lovingly releasing people who could not be in joy with me. Because in this paradigm, if you have too much joy, you're arrogant, which that is a code, by the way. That is a program. Arrogant, self-righteousness, there's codes for that. And I talked about superiority, inferiority. There's codes in the DNA that have to be cleared for that. But there is a big difference between arrogance and real joy. You're just walking around, you're just so happy. And you just want everybody to be happy with you. See, in this reality, we don't know that. But in this reality, it's the new norm. So yeah, those are the primary frequencies: love, joy, and peace. Now, peace looks like this. I might not agree with, let's say another thing before I say this. Over here, the new norm is what I call a sacred neutral. So neutrality is, you really are out of judgment. Like a good example is Trump. I don't really see Trump as good or bad. I might not particularly agree with misogyny, or I don't particularly agree with destroying the earth, not caring about the earth. However, I can see and perceive with neutrality the big picture of Trump's role. I can understand this role and the importance of this figure at this time and why he's the right person at this time. Right meaning the person that is divinely put in this place at this time. Not right, good, bad, just simply the role. Now, this is from a place of neutrality because I'm not pro or for or con or anything. I'm for humanity. I'm for ascension. I'm for awakening. That I'm pro. But even still, it's all, I can have a kind of neutrality that is just part of all that is, right? And I know you all in this room have that, right? You all can understand this. But the way we get into neutrality is by really coming into a 0 point through our processes, our inner process. Because when we work with this sacred neutral energy that brings us into a 0 point, everything stills, and we're clearing out those programs in the DNA. We're no longer sucked into this third dimensional paradigm. We're vibrating in harmony with these new frequencies. Make sense? Okay. What else is going on in this? If over here it's I, me, mine, over here it's we, us, ours. Yes. If over here it's separation, over here it's unity, oneness. But what is the difference in unity and oneness? Unity is we're all individualized beings and we're united. That we have a shared desire for the greatest good of all with harm to none. We can all always agree on that, right? That's unity in my language. Oneness is I am at one with the divine and all that is. Because on a certain level, we eventually do start to recognize we live in our own paradigm. We live in our own personal holographic reality. We are the divine creator of our own experience. And the beings who we interact with in our experience, they're just vibrating in harmony with us, but they're in their own unique paradigm too. And our paradigms, like, you know what a Vesica Pisces? Two intersecting circles. So this is my circle, and this is your circle. And in this now moment we're sharing, and each of you have your own circle of your own personal reality that's based on your vibrational frequency, your consciousness, everything you're creating and you come into, and we share collective. So we're in unity, but in oneness, you're in your own personal holographic reality. We know this in quantum physics. Is everyone with me?
Yes.
And the more we're operating from this, the more we realize this is my paradigm. And this paradigm is going to be filled with love and peace. I am surrounding my paradigm with love and peace and joy. And this is what I'm having. This is what I'm creating. This is what I'm contributing. And anything that comes in will be a vibrational match. Can we understand this? Do you understand this is the ultimate liberation?
Yes.
Because when you really come into that, no one in the external world can tell you anything else, because you're coming from oneness and you are becoming the conscious creator based on frequency match. And when you liberate yourself from this reality, see, this reality paradigm, the external world has power over you. I was driving to the New Living Expo the other day with dear friends of mine, and someone in the car said, if you don't pay your taxes, they can put you in jail. And I said, that's a belief system. That's a program. It's deeply coded from the ancient times. I'm not saying not to pay your taxes. I'm just saying, let's get clear. Let's be honest. Let's be real here. We're elevating. There's nothing out there can do anything to you. So over here, you need security on your house, and you need locks, and you need cameras, because this is a very fear-based reality. But you understand over here, theft cannot come into your frequency when you don't steal. The frequency you're emitting is one of peace, joy, love, overall safety, but not safety from fear, safety from love, joy, peace. I am safe, all is well. I'm emitting all of this from me. I'm radiating it out. I am the cause of my reality. I'm no longer at the effect. Do we understand this? Is everyone with me? So this is the ultimate liberation when you start operating from, I am in my own paradigm. I understand there are codes and programs in my unconsciousness that may make me believe and perceive and behave in certain ways. But as I identify them and clear them and resolve them, I'm being liberated. I'm liberating myself. I'm choosing liberation. I'm going through an ascension process. I'm elevating into these higher frequencies and the new paradigm. I'm aligning myself with these higher truths. Make sense? Everyone with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is new paradigm, and I usually refer to it as a fifth dimensional reality. But understand, it's not anywhere outside of us. We're not going somewhere. We're not dropping our bodies. We're changing. So over here in this third dimensional paradigm, we have 2 strands of DNA with 10 more dormant strands. That's what the collective is being told. Over here, we have at least 12 strands of active DNA and way more, which has not been discovered here yet, because we know it exists. It's etheric still. At some point, this will discover it, but by the time they do, maybe, who knows what. Okay, make sense? All right, so where do we want to go next here? So we know, okay, let's talk about the bridge, because there's like a bridge, right? If this is 3D, this is 5D, so to speak. What's 4D? What's 4D?
Our dreams.
Yes.
Hippie love.
Okay, here's how I refer to, I lovingly
Hippie love
refer.
without wisdom.
Okay, that's good. Oh, let me say this before I go into 4D. Over here, what's the primary tool we use to survive, operate?
Money.
Control.
The brain.
Oh, the brain.
Left analytical brain. We analyze, we study, we memorize, we take tests. We do not use this as an antenna. We use it as a resource, like a box where you store things away. You have to push things in your brain and memorize it and study it and take tests, and that's the only way you can be smart, by the way. And you have to get PhDs and doctorates to prove how smart you are, right? But actually over here, we have access to infinite wisdom and, well, let's call it infinite information and energy. And by accessing it and through the process of ascension, we're not just using the left brain, we're balancing the left brain and the right brain. What's the right brain? Yeah, well, it's a knowing.
Oh, okay.
It is knowing. So if left brain, we know left brain controls the right side of the body, right? But left brain is processing center. Right brain is allowing center, allowing and knowing. By the way, this is what the animals taught me. I learned this from animals because they're more balanced in their left brain and right brain. So they don't have to analyze things. They just red curtain. They don't even need to label it. Oh, it is. I know exactly what it is. They're not using a word to label it. They just know, right? Okay, so over here, balance left brain, right brain, and when we balance it, we open up the heart center. So the primary frequency here the primary frequency is electric. Electric is just the brain. Electric, static energy. Gotta check my Facebook. Gotta do this, gotta study. Gotta run to the grocery store. I know I never hang out in Whole Foods at 6 o'clock at night. Gotta. Maybe not so much here, but definitely in LA where I was living for a long time. Okay, but over here, everything's magnetic. That's the energy. So the heart is magnetic. The heart center, when we're opened in our heart center, we're navigating through a feeling state. And the primary way we navigate, if this is the left brain, here is the heart center, the way we navigate is, this feels good. This feels like love. This feels like peace. This feels like acceptance. This feels like kindness. This feels like compassion. This is forgiveness. This is, all is well. But over here, it's like, can I trust? Do I know? Who is this person? What's going on here? Right? We don't even know how to trust ourselves, but here we're so in the heart, we can feel it. And that's a huge way we navigate, because every bit of our navigation from here is this matching a frequency of love? Is this matching feeling like a frequency of joy? Is this matching feeling like a frequency of peace? Am I at peace? Yeah. If I'm not, am I being hooked in? Now I need to process, identify, clear, resolve, so that I can elevate out of it. Does it make sense? Okay, good. So we understand. Okay, now let's go back to the 4D. What's 4D? To me, the way I describe this bridge between the old paradigm and the new paradigm is the non-physical. Why? Because over here, if you can't see it, touch it, taste it, feel it, it's woo-woo and crazy. It's not even real. I mean, it's so ridiculous that paradigm is based on nothing's real unless it's physical. And they make these they're really, okay, I don't want to get sidetracked on that, but like all the TV movies that make it like it's just woo-woo crazy, and that's fed into the mass consciousness. Like that you're woo-woo and crazy if you're into this non-physical stuff. Even now, bless you, with all the TV that's like ghosts. Okay, ghosts are real. Bigfoot's real. But that stuff exists in the fourth dimensional realm. So this is the way the third dimensional paradigm is exploring the non-physical. But the truth is that's just density. Ghosts and Bigfoot and other things. Not that Bigfoot is something to be scared of, because that's a whole other topic. But they're dealing with it from a fear-based perspective. Here, that's just the beginning of the bridge, exploring the unknown, right? The fourth dimensional realm is an unknown realm to us, but what else is in there? Our emotions. We have to get in touch with our emotions. The emotional body. It's not physical, but it's a thing. It exists in 4D. The mental body. We have to become conscious of every thought we think to be here. Because you're going to manifest and materialize so freaking fast that in order to cross this bridge, you have to start really being conscious of every thought you have. Because how can you create your reality unless you understand it's your thoughts, your emotion that's firing off of a response that's energetically, magnetically filtering through a field of your paradigm, your holographic reality, and coming right back to you because you're the creator. You're manifesting it here. So if you're not paying attention to all your thoughts and all your emotions and how they're electrically radiating out from you, magnetically attracting back to you. Make sense? Everyone with me?
Yeah.
This is 4D because we're crossing this bridge and we're like, okay, how did I create that? Well, why am I having this dispute here? What is it within me that's at odds with this person that I perceive to be separate from me? Like we're navigating all that in 4D. And then of course, does it make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Thoughts are thinking. I taught psychic development class for many, many years. And my psychic development class, I used to tell people, I mean, I always tell people, I still do, pay attention to your thoughts. And in the early days, people be like, why? How can you be in touch with anything that comes in if you don't understand thoughts that are coming from you or to you or in the field, right? All right, so what else is in the non-physical realm? Yeah. Angels, ascended masters. I mean, Jesus is alive and well. This is not a religious thing. This is a dude that walked the earth and achieved a certain frequency of consciousness, which we'll talk about it tonight. It's called the Christ consciousness, but what is the Christ consciousness?
Unity.
Love.
Love.
Well, it is, but it's from the crystalline realm.
Uh-huh.
The crystals
Oh.
provide crystalline consciousness. You have crystalline codes in your DNA. I love when I see that. Has nothing to do with religion. It's just that he achieved it. We're achieving it. Isn't that amazing? I got that from the DNA, from the crystalline realm. I never, Okay.
And the brain has crystals, right? Or something.
The brain has a pineal gland
the
and a
gland.
pituitary gland.
Right.
What is that called over here?
Third eye.
Yeah, if they're conscious of it. Third eye, if they even believe or willing to believe it in that realm. But you do. Now, it's very important to know. I'm sure in this room you guys know this already, but you know what shuts that down, right? Pineal gland, pituitary gland, what shuts down?
Right. What?
Fluoride in the water,
Vaccines.
artificial sweeteners, pink, green, blue, yellow packets. That stuff is owned by Donald Rumsfeld. That's a conspiracy tactic. We call it a slow kill tactic. What else shuts it down?
5G phone.
5G electronics. I mean, if you don't have shungite on every piece of this is shungite. You can get it really at any craft. You guys know where to get that stuff, right? Etsy has it. Shungite. Put it on every piece of electronics, and of course, Himalayan salts, crystals in the house, and they absorb all that, right? But that shuts down. And the crystals, I do. We'll talk. I'll hopefully get to this, but I do a crystal journey, and I teach people how to work with the crystals and how to meditate with the crystals and how to use them in the house and how to build, grids and work with the grid lines in the earth, grids around the bed, activating you during your sleep, all kinds of amazing things with the crystals. But nonetheless, we're staying on pineal gland, pituitary gland. They also get shut down by GMOs, genetically modified food sources. So we know we have to cleanse our diet of all that stuff, right? But it's very easy to decalcify. In my early days, people be like, I remember it used to be, I remember seeing people would charge like $99, $999 for pineal gland, pituitary gland activations. And I'd be like, man, you could just so easy to deactivate, to activate them, to clear them out. We'll do some of it tonight with our meditation part. But you have to open that, of course, because you need a full brain. If the pineal gland and the pituitary gland are not fully activated, you can't balance the left and right brain. Right. This is why people have so many brain imbalances right now, depression and other kinds of mental health disorders, because their pineal gland and partially because their pineal and pituitary are shut down, deactivated, calcified. Make sense? You got a big aha there. Good. So, all right. So 4D, we're still on 4D. Let's just understand the non-physical realm has 3 components. This is really important. The known. Known. So there's some things we know in the non-physical realm. We know we have emotions. It's not physical. I mean, it is physical in the non-physical realm from that perspective. Emotions are things. We can feel them. But we can't directly necessarily see them, at least not from a 3D, 4D consciousness. Not until maybe we get further along, we can start to see frequencies of emotions. We can identify them, but they're not something tangible in the same way as this reality, right? So there's certain things that are known from the non-physical, and emotion is an example of that. If you've ever seen an angel, I have literally seen angels. I mean, literally seen the most brilliant, beautiful, incredible angels. It's just so incredible to really see an angel. Really. If you've ever seen one, it's part of the known. It's the known realm. If you've been touched or experienced any form of divine love, divine bliss, kundalini activation, If you've had your Kundalini activated, which is just, it doesn't exist just at the base of the spine, by the way. It exists throughout the whole cellular matrix. But we don't have time to wholly go into that. But nonetheless, that's something over here. Is it real? What is the Kundalini? Over here, it's in the known realm. So we understand the fourth dimensional realm, the non-physical world, has 3 components, and one of those components is known to us. If you've ever had a visitation by an ascended master, when I was living in Maui, at one point I had Jesus come to me and open a portal in front of me and invite me through. I didn't even know what to do with that. It's so beyond my comprehension at that time. It freaked me, you know? But if you have experiences like that, it becomes known to you. And no one can tell you it's not real. Okay, so this is all part of the known. And this becomes deeply personal because as we go through the ascension process and as we move through fourth dimensional reality, we're having these deeply personal experiences and we try to communicate them to people, but nobody can. I mean, some people will be like, yeah, I had something like that. Or yeah, you know, people can agree, but nobody can get it the way you know, because it's so deeply personal. And these kinds of known experiences become known to us firsthand. Over here, no one has any concept of them. Over here, they're firsthand experiences. Nobody can take them away from you. No one can take away your knowing. They're part of the known. Yes? Okay, the second in the fourth dimensional realm is the unknown. Now, this is what I love. I love going into the non-physical realm, exploring it, and extracting unknown information. This is an energy, right? It's consciousness that has previously not been so accessible to us. Maybe gurus, some points in time and space, but not to the everyday person. So this is what I love. And this is a lot of what the DNA activations are. This is a lot of what I share now because I'm fascinated by what has been unknown to us. Who cares about what's in another book that's been written and rewritten 50 million times? I mean, lots of people do, and it's wonderful. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying, to me, this is the greatness of Ascension. We have unknown information that we can now access, extract from the non-physical world, and bring it into the known realm and start sharing and learning from it and evolving into it and using it and applying it so that we can really live our best lives. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, the third is unknowable. We don't know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. This week, I met somebody, amazing, brilliant person. I just love this person so much. And he said something to me. It's really I can't quite wrap my brain around his frequency and consciousness, but he said, I know everything. But at that point, I knew he did not know anything. It's impossible. It is impossible. And I learned this from the non-physical world. It's impossible to know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. So this keeps us humble because we can always allow whatever anyone else knows, it's their knowing. And we don't have to know it all. And it's such a gift of the fourth dimensional realm because it frees us from needing to know it all. And it liberates us from I'm right, you're wrong, you're good, I'm bad, this, it's just, oh, wow, what an interesting perspective. We get out of the struggle. And we just, okay, that's unknown to me, it's known to you. And what else is there? We don't know. So we understand these three. To me, it's so liberating if you allow that to sort of get into your consciousness because I think it frees you up from having to figure it all out. And it liberates us to realize the unknown realm is so infinite. And as we all expand our consciousness and come into this new reality, there's so much more. Okay. Helpful? Okay, awesome. I want to say one other thing. Over here, this is so important, and then we'll talk more about the DNA. And I want you guys to ask questions, too, if you want. So over here, this paradigm, what's the most important thing for an evolving person? It's a leading question. Yeah, maybe. I mean, depends on what you define. Well, what I mean is we have to learn lessons. Don't you hear that on a spiritual journey? You got to learn lessons. And sometimes if I talk to someone who doesn't always know who I am or what I teach, they'll be like, well, it's a lesson learned. And I think, well, aren't you done with that yet? Because you don't have to learn lessons anymore. See, this is what it is. When you understand that you can access the unknown realm, there's nothing you have to learn. You just download. What does divine source, consciousness, or whatever is involved? What am I meant to know? And you could say, what am I meant to learn? Let's be done with it. Give it to me. I don't need to learn through suffering. This is an old paradigm. I have to learn some kind of lesson. I have to clear some kind of karma. I have to heal. Oh my God, it's so nauseating. Over here, when you're freed and liberated, you're just like, what am I meant to see that I'm not seeing? What am I meant to know that I'm not knowing? What am I meant to understand that I'm not understanding? What am I meant to forgive that I'm not forgiving? What is in this experience so I can be free and liberated? We understand, because it's usually we have to learn something. We're in some kind of struggle or push-pull or entanglement or something that's not resolved, because if it's resolved, we don't have to learn anything anyway. That's the whole point. Because over here, there's no learning, but what's here?
No.
I mean, what is freedom and liberation anyway?
Joy.
Yes. Okay, so what are you going to choose? Are you going to choose fear, or are you going to choose joy? In order to choose joy, you have to recognize that you get to choose your experience. You don't have to learn anymore. You extract from higher intelligence. This is why the Akashic records are so amazing. You can access infinite wisdom. Well, it's wisdom once we process it and apply it. Source corrects me on that. Infinite information and energy and consciousness. You have the ability, we all do, to access these higher frequencies. We can get any information we want at any time once we learn how, once we're able to attune to it. So we don't have to learn anything. We let it come in, we integrate it, we allow it. We don't resist or fight or struggle with it. We let it come in. We trust and know it's coming in. We'll know as we know. We'll receive what we're meant to. Then what happens is you're suddenly freed from the struggle or the dance or the entanglement. And you're like, what am I going to choose? So I'll tell you a little personal story about this. Over the past, well, okay, so how do I want to tell this story best? Yeah. So over the past linear time of 7 or 9 years, I'm into astrology. I really do agree that the planets have consciousness, and the planets are serving and assisting us because they're physical, just like in this reality. If you don't understand that Earth controls, that the moon controls the tides, I mean, then so does every other planet have effect on us in different ways, right? This is what astrologers know. But based on the frequency of consciousness, the planets are doing entirely different things. And what they mostly don't know over here also is that many of these planets had black magic ritual and curses and hexes that's now been cleared at this frequency. You're completely clear. So over here, if Saturn's your karma planet, over here, Saturn's helping you to get through hard work, do the hard work that maybe you didn't know how. A totally different experience. But the point that I was making was, up until a year ago, less than a year ago, I had in my astrological story, hi, David.
Well, hello there.
Welcome.
Well, thank you.
I had in my astrological story a planet called K2 ruling me. You guys, it's not a planet, it's an asteroid, it's a south node, kind of old karma, right? And prior to that, I had like 15 years or something, I don't know, of Saturn. So it hasn't exactly been a joyride for me. And when I realized that I had freed myself of that through all my own healing journey and stuff, what happened was January came in, well, right around October came in, and I started to realize, and all my guidance was like something brand new, all new for you is up. And this is because you've done the requirements for your soul's evolution. I didn't understand all that. It's taken me quite a while to process it, how it applied. And what happened right around January was I was looking for more of my own sacred contracts. You guys understand this concept, right? Agreements and things. And all I kept thinking was, you don't have any more. You're done. And I was like, well, what now? And it was always choose. You're free.
What do you want?
What do you want? And I was like, well, I know what I want, but I just wasn't ready for that. It was like I was all along thinking like guidance is telling me where to go, what to do, how to be. Guidance is saying, this is what you're going to do. Guidance is guiding me this way. So guidance is saying, clear this out. Guidance is pinging and poking me and triggering me to do my stuff. And now it's like, no, there's nothing. Flatland. Like it's brand new. And I get it, because at a certain point when you really are free from the old paradigm, there's nothing pulling you, telling you what to do. You don't even have guidance in the same way. It's choice, unlimited, what's possible, what's going to bring me joy, what's all new. That's so exciting, so inspiring. I mean, it's all new choice. This is where we're going, and it's going to be based on excitement and optimism and glad expectation and divine inspiration and primordial love, which when I say primordial love, what I mean is like undiluted from human interpretation of whatever love is. It's the original love. We don't even know what that is. We're just starting to. Make sense? So to me, this is what 5D is. This is where we're all elevating into. This is where we're all coming to. Like, what are we going to choose? And it's not just individual. It's obviously for the collective. How is the whole of humanity going to experience life with nothing to complain about? Like, how are we all going to elevate into blissfully clean water everywhere and beautifully fed earth, Mother Earth, interacting and feeding us and nurturing us? Do you know, in one of my channels, Mother Earth said, I know every footprint that walks on me. Isn't that amazing? Every footprint.
Wow.
Every being. Isn't that amazing? Wow. So anyway, well, this is where we're all, to me, this is where we're all going. And it's really just a matter of how quickly we as individuals are willing to elevate, because you understand timelines. Do you guys understand timelines? Yeah. I want to check my time. Okay. This is important to understand timelines. I'm going to talk about this because I don't think most people do get it. So what we have on planet Earth is one original organic ascension timeline. And what this means, what is a time? First of all, what is a timeline? Anyone?
Human construct.
Yes, that's true.
A series of events.
I wouldn't even call it a series of events.
Is it a path?
You could say that it's a path.
It's a path of becoming or manifesting.
You could say that. This is how I define a timeline. A collective or an individual agrees to an experience, a shared experience. So let's say, let's hypothetical, because we don't know, because we're here now. In 2012, there was collective that agreed that that was going to be an Armageddon scenario. By the way, Armageddon programming is imprinted in the DNA. It's fear of the end of the world stuff, right? And it's fear of your extinction, fear of death. It's all linked in, tangled in there. Has to be cleared up with DNA. But let's just say at 2012, you heard that storyline, the end of the world. Maybe there were people who really decided to have that experience. And for all we know, they did. And we would call that a bifurcated or fractaled timeline because we weren't on it. So that is an example of now we also, another good example is World War III. We're here now, we're living in a world that's becoming more peaceful. We are becoming more peaceful. If you're here with me, we're all becoming more peaceful because I say, I choose peace. Every time I have an altercation of any way, I choose peace. My brain says to the other person, namaste. I choose peace. I wish you well. Whatever your choice is, okay. Fine with me. I'd rather have peace. So we're on a peace timeline, but we don't really know if there was a bifurcated timeline where people were choosing World War III. We don't know because we're not on that timeline. There's not, but you understand, one timeline is an ascension timeline, true organic ascension timeline. That means everybody on this timeline, alive at this point in time, in a physical body, humans, animals, earth, the earth herself, plants, minerals, all of consciousness gets to awaken and choose their experiences. So you could be on this time, everyone's on this timeline, and you may choose to have an experience of arguing and fighting with your school system about whether or not you're willing to give your kids a mumps and measles vaccine. And now you're in a power struggle and other people are going through that experience. I know for me, myself, I'm completely impervious to that timeline, completely immune to it. And it doesn't Doesn't interact with me on a personal level at all, other than that I assist others to get out of it, right? Now, another good example of a timeline, you could be having a collective experience where, from your perspective, everybody's piss poor broke. But I mean, Tony Robbins is on a different timeline regarding that. You're still, remember the Vesica Pisces, you still have an overlap. You might listen to Tony Robbins and he suddenly inspires you and you start thinking, I can be wealthy too. Start shifting your frequency, right? Nonetheless, there's a collective that's still playing that game. Another collective is still playing with it's normal to get sick and consult your doctor. Do you have mesothelioma? And there's a new commercial on. This is all brainwashing. I get to have my old antidepressant and now I can stay on my new one. There's literally a commercial promoting. You understand? That's what we call a bifurcated timeline, because people are believing and buying into that they need their pharmaceutical drugs. And there's no wrongness there. It's just that understand the true organic ascension timeline, people are waking up and saying, is that a choice I want? Do I want to need that? Or would I like to find other solution, other option? I have a client who I've been working with. I mentioned this just recently because just last week, she came to me about, I don't know, maybe 8 weeks ago, but she didn't do a session every week. She only did one like once every other week, approximately, something like that. And she's had about 5 sessions. When she came to me, her thyroid was completely off. She was swinging between extreme hyper. Her hair was falling out. She was like, overly not adjusted to her world. Anyway, at one point through the session period time, she was working with a holistic health practitioner, was like, oh no, you're way off. Your blood tests are all off. This was only a few weeks ago. You got to take this supplement, that supplement, this supplement, halfway through, but she's already getting better. Last week, this is within the 8 weeks, she was like, Lori, I got all my blood tests. Everything's normal. But that timeline she chose not to have. Do you understand? It's happening personally and collectively. Let me talk a little bit more about timelines because it's so important to understand. It's so important. Another example of a timeline is, Notre Dame. What happened with Notre Dame? Can we understand that on an alternate timeline, another timeline, I'm going a little off topic with this, but it still will make sense. It'll integrate into the conversation. That Bastille, the burning of the Bastille happened, the burning of Paris, the storming of the Bastille, Paris burned. Can we understand that on that timeline there was a trauma for the people who were affected by that, and that trauma was not resolved? That collective needed to work through it. So what? It comes up again to be resolved again. Same thing. I'm not saying there's not other factors involved there, because there are. Serves a collective. So another example of a timeline, in the 1900s, we have a timeline where we have a mass Great Depression. People couldn't feed themselves. They were starving. Children died of malnutrition. Families were massively traumatized. Well, this trauma imprints on the DNA. You understand?
Yeah.
Unless it's cleared out and resolved, it's going to repeat. How does it repeat? 2008. For me, I know I was a product of the Great Depression. In the year of 2008, I was at the tail end of my dark night of the soul transformation, and I couldn't feed my own dogs. I couldn't. My idea of dinner that then was like a slice of tomato, piece of bread, and an egg, and some carrots. Like that's how I lived for a long time. So the trauma was imprinted on my bloodlines, in my DNA, my ancestors, and I relived it. And of course, I was in a timeline somewhere where that happened, right? Does this make sense?
Yes.
So, but not everybody experienced 2008 Great Depression like that way. Some people were still, rich people weren't having a problem. This is what I mean by, you understand, we have one organic timeline. Everybody gets to wake up. Everybody gets to choose. To the degree that you're conscious and resolved and you're cleared off, especially the programs of the DNA are cleared, to the degree that you are not being entangled unconsciously, You get to freely choose. I'm going to choose abundance. I'm going to choose that no matter what's going on out there, I'm going to have a whole different experience that's so exciting and joyful because I can vibrate in harmony with that. But if you're not freed and liberated, you're going to be entangled with the experience because it's a tertiary timeline where you and other collectives or you as an individual have to work through those unresolved issues because you've just been entangled in the fourth dimensional frequencies as you pass through the bridge. Does this make sense? Is everyone with me? So we talk about timelines. Everyone's on this unified timeline of awakening. Not everyone's consciously choosing it. And not everybody's having the same experience. And we don't really know what other people's experiences are because the only experiences we're going to have are the ones we come into vibrational harmony with. Make sense? So another example, I'll use a few more. A tertiary is a fractaled timeline. Tertiary means it's not the primary timeline that everybody is going through. The primary timeline is always going to be vibrating in a frequency of love and peace and joy. The tertiary timelines are basically fractaled, and to the degree that they polarize, because there's universal laws, we probably won't be able to get into all that, to the degree that they polarize, those fractal timelines could completely bifurcate, which means to separate into alternate realities. For example, 2012 Armageddon type scenario. Make sense? For example, World War III type scenario. That's fractaled, completely bifurcated from our timeline because now they've basically gone on what we call a descending timeline, alternate reality. We have no experience of that because it's not vibrationally compatible to us. This is why it is critical at this time what we pay attention to, because what you give your attention to is what's going to hook you in. Make sense? Okay, I'm going to give just a couple more examples of why timelines and understanding timelines is so important. For many years I don't anymore do lost animal cases. I don't do it anymore because I just don't have the time. But one timeline, an animal could be lost, and another timeline, an animal can be found. I can't tell you how many times I had clients who would come to me and they would say things like, this person told me that animal's never coming back. As long as I know as an animal communicator, which I happen to think I'm really great at it, that animal's still physically alive and hasn't exited the earth plane, the earth existence, he can be found in an alternate timeline. You have to bridge the gap. There's always reasons. Why did it happen? What am I meant to learn? Let's learn it. Make sense? Okay, same thing with disease. Doctor tells you you got 6 months. Okay, maybe that's extreme. Let's say doctor tells you got diabetes, and these are all the things you have to do. Understand that's one tertiary timeline. And by the way, if it's just affecting you, we call that a personal timeline because it's not a sub-collective usually. It's your personal experience. Now you can get off that timeline by shifting your vibration and realigning back to the original organic timeline, which you're always on. You never really leave that unless it becomes completely fractaled. You're aligned with this timeline because you're realigning with love, peace, and joy. Vibrationally, your body can be completely healed. But on the personal timeline, maybe the doctor at that moment doesn't think it's possible for you. Maybe you can't see the possibility. Requires you to become conscious and say, all right, what do I need to learn? What gifts do I need to receive? What do I need to shift within myself? This is why timelines, understanding timelines is so important. And most people have no idea how this works. It's all vibration. Make sense? So you always want to be knowing, am I vibrating in harmony with love, peace, and joy? What do I need to do to get into vibrational harmony and realign myself? And you know what the answers are, right? What do you need to do to become in harmony with love, peace, and joy?
Come into your sacred heart.
Yes. But what are the basic practices?
Don't stress out.
Yeah, that's easy to say. Movement of the body, exercise, whatever. And this is not exercise because in the old 3D way, the way you exercise is like, you got to work out, you got to burn, you got to. No, it's joyful movement of the body. Whatever movement of your body you love. Singing, dancing, naked dancing, divine dancing, yoga, whatever it is. I jump on a trampoline. I love it. I love, and then I hang upside down. On the, I love it. Makes me happy. I love sacred dance. Whatever your movement is. Okay, that's one. What else?
Nature.
Nature.
Yes.
Nature.
Barefoot on the earth.
Yeah.
Barefoot on the earth. I mean, we know this, right? It's called earthing and grounding. The science is there on that one. nicely, right? Okay, what else?
Water.
What do you eat?
Water.
Raw foods?
What you
The
eat.
diet.
Okay, so let me just say, water is the ultimate healer.
Mhm.
So anytime you can get into natural water, and if you can't get into natural water, you put sea salt in water, Himalayan sea salt. I mean, people like Epsom salt, but I like sea salt. And if you want to add some essential oils, 100% medicinal grade essential oils, you can restore yourself, right? When you go in the shower every day, every day I go in the shower, when I go in, I do this ritual. Remove from me any and all frequencies that do not match or exceed my frequency of love and light.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mother Earth. Mother Earth heals. She does not mind healing us. It's one thing to throw toxins. It's another thing to say, thank you, Mother Earth, for taking this into
Mhm.
right? Mother Earth is the ultimate healer. Okay, so water. Okay, food. Someone said that food of the earth. So we understand here in 3D, the food is genetically modified. People are eating hormone-infested animals. They're being lied to. I mean, for years, I remember 15 years ago, I'd walk in Trader Joe's or more. I don't even know. There's no significant difference between cows treated with RBHT and our cows. And it's such a lie. I used to walk through Trader Joe's and be like, this is a lie. Back then, I was in a lot of struggle with, truth stuff. But I'm sticking them with hormones, right? So over here, we start realizing we can feed off the sun. We can learn how to let the sun feed us in healthy ways, not by burning our eyes, but by doing it in healthy ways. We also can learn how to be fed by breatharianism. Anyone in here into that?
Yeah.
Me too. I'm doing it more and more. I've really noticed how I don't need food the same way. We also know we can become juicerians. And we understand it's a reptilian program to need animal flesh. I walk in the grocery store, I'm like, do people realize there's dead animals in here? Like they're dead animals and that's normal. I don't have a judgment if people choose to eat animals. I understand. I'm already in the neutral on that. Even animals have helped me with that. But it's just, and I'm not even saying, I'm not even advocating that you have to eat only juicerian or breatharian. What I'm saying is we're opening our perspective and realizing what we didn't realize, right? So when you say food of the earth is absolutely going to raise our frequency. Greens, I love, can't remember his name, Joel. I love him so much, and he teaches G-bombs, greens, beans, onions. What's his last name?
Furman.
Furman, right? Furman. I love him so much. Greens, beans, onions, nuts, seeds, and berries. Food of the earth. Okay, so that's going to raise our frequency. The big one hasn't been said yet.
Sunlight.
Sunlight's going to raise our frequency. Prayer. But understand, even prayer, if you're praying, understand prayer is deeply embedded here because the concept is you're praying to something external to yourself. And it's prayer works. But let's just know that prayer is you reclaiming an aspect of your consciousness, connecting with an aspect of your consciousness that you, at that now moment when the prayer is said, you feel separated from. And that's okay. Prayer works. But let's just know, there is no one outside of you. You're praying to you, the divinity within and around you. Okay. Prayer works, but the big one is meditation. Yes. Meditation in any form of energy healing and energy clearing. And of course, working with the non-physical realm. Because if you love angels, I still work with angels. I understand they are a part of me. They're within my paradigm. And they're at frequencies in the non-physical realm. So I always still work with angels and ascended masters and divine goddesses and the animal kingdom, because they're all at frequencies that can elevate us. Yes? So these are all the basics. When we need to come back into our own sacred neutral, when we need to restore ourselves and elevate out of 3D, so to speak. Yeah? Okay.
We have a question from the internet.
Yeah, let's take that. Love that.
All right.
Just want to check my time.
This is from Joy, and she says,
Hi, Joy.
So I know I'm an indigo with psychic experience since I was small. Does this mean some of the DNA turned on, or did I come in switched on?
Okay, so indigo family races, great question. Indigo family races, we are all in the indigo family races, all of us. If you're into this, you're in the indigo family, you're in the indigo races. And the indigo races, most of us were, we could go back to the early 60s and even earlier when we started being born. And there's all different terminology within the indigo family races. Those of us who were born in the early waves have to turn it on, typically switch on. What do we mean? Activate DNA. We have to do a lot more clearing. We're doing the heavy lifting for humanity, because you understand, you start clearing something out of the DNA, you're clearing it for the ancestors who did not clear it for you. So we heal the wounds of our ancestors. If you're a late indigo, in other words, someone who's much younger, like some of my girlfriends, man, they're just so on. They don't have to, they're just so on. These young women, they're so beautiful. You see them at like Lightning in the Bottle and Shakti Fest are like 20 and they're just like so on, right? They don't have to activate as much. So, I mean, they're still doing it because they have their own transformation. Everybody's going through it. So you have to find your own way. And since I don't know you personally, Joy, I don't know where you're at within that, but I would say there is a kind of a linearity to it. It's not absolutely true, but the younger ones tend to have, crystal children being born right now, these babies. You look in their eyes and they're like, oh my God, they're like on. You know what I mean? They don't have to activate anything. And we know, I don't know if this is documented yet, but I think more of their DNA is already active and on, So, I mean, I have a knowing that that's true, but I don't know if science has discovered that yet. By the way, I would really avoid giving your DNA to anyone if you can. Right? It's all being cataloged and, I don't really know what they're doing, everything with it. I haven't inquired enough. But let me just say, so for Joy, one of the things you might want to do is just, you start to tune into how much of your knowing is already engaged. How much of your abilities and talents don't need to be learned or even activated. That's how much you know. It's like, I would say that you would know it if it was already all activated. You would have more knowing. And there's no wrongness in that. It's just where our soul chose to come in, what we wanted to work through or resolve or activate. So there's no better or worse in any of it. It's just what our unique individualized soul came in with and wants to do while we're here. So I hope that's helpful. Yeah, you were going to ask?
I was going to say, I have 4 children. My 6-year-old just, I'm like, I don't even have to raise you. Like,
right.
she just knows, like, she gets an hour, she's just like, oh, she just knows things that even my 14-year-old doesn't know at such a young age.
Yeah.
It's like, she just, like, she's been here, like, she knows what, and it's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah,
It is
like,
so amazing.
Yeah.
So I'd say a couple more things on this too, because this will help. Okay, good. So we're an hour and a half in. I'm going to go a little bit longer and then we'll take a break. I talk about the ascension in waves. I'm not the only one who talks about it like this, but this is my interpretation of the waves. And this helps too with knowing kind of about the activations or how far, where you are as an indigo family race member. There's a lot of different terminology: rainbow child, crystal child, star seed. I call myself a braided seed. And the reason I do that, because I know myself as a human, I have all memory of my human embodiment. But after that induction experience, I really knew myself as a being from the stars. And I had real firsthand experience with star beings and a lot of memories being activated about my life on the stars. And I understood at that point in time and space, the two united and braided as one. And it's integrated. So to me, that's my terminology. Different people, walk-ins, braid-ins. It's all terminology. What are we without a terminology? You've heard that, right? Like, who are you? Who are you? However you define yourself to be, right? Whatever your own personal truth is who you are. But so the waves thing, do you guys understand this concept of the waves?
That's stepping into.
Yeah, I haven't. So my understanding is you have pre-wavers, and your pre-wavers are people who really kind of tended the earth, made us ready. And those are part of the, some of the names we mentioned earlier, John Lennon, JFK, people who really weren't attuned to the higher frequencies. Deepak Chopra is a good example, Michael Beckwith, Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay. They tended the soil. They made it ready. We would not be able to be doing this without them. Marianne Williamson, many of them still alive. These people are teachers and, spiritual royalty of their own because they created the foundation that we could come birth from and attune to these higher frequencies, because we nourished ourselves on that food, that spiritual food, but it's learned information. It's not from the unknown. It's from the known. It's been known, right? They took that information and translated it for mainstream. So then you have your first wavers, and to me, the way I understand it, first wavers are people who were really fully activated and engaged by 2011. And I mean, chances are, again, I just want to say it sounds linear, but it's not linear, because like, where does a wave begin and where does a wave end? And they all kind of crash into each other anyhow. And there's no better or worse. It's just what the soul wanted to do while the soul was here. But your first wavers were mostly online by 2011, already actively engaged. And I would assume many of the people in this room are that, right? You were already doing sacred circles and drumming circles, and probably practitioners, healers, astrologers, readers, intuitives. That's first wavers. Second wavers are waking up now. They're starting to realize, like, weird things are happening. They're coming to circles. They're learning. They're coming to expos. They're taking, first wavers are working with the non-physical. Second wavers are taking the information the first wavers are sharing, and then they're working in the physical world. They're working in business offices and everyday families, and these second wavers are very advanced in comparison to the mainstream. But they're writing movies, and they're writing, they're bringing it out to make it normal among the masses, and they're normalizing it. So they're taking the third wavers who aren't awake yet. So if you're in the timeline where you recognize not everybody's awake, and there's a whole 80% of the population that has no idea this is going on, it's because they're third wavers. And they're not really slated to start waking up until 2020. I mean, they're starting to wake up, because now you can walk into the mainstream grocery store and there's organic foods and, all kinds of, new kinds of foods that weren't there even a few years ago. You're seeing it filter into the mainstream, now doctors are becoming more holistic and that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, the third wavers are basically have no idea what's going on. And they still listen to CNN and think it's real rather than lies and propaganda. They don't know that the only fake news is on television. And you get it, right? That's third wavers. So the good news is these guys get to wake up, because the first wavers and the second wavers have done the heavy lifting. We've done all the inner work. We've been activating this DNA, clearing out the records, laying the foundation for the future based on love, peace, joy, goodness, and wellness for everyone with harm to none. We're making that a real reality in the physical world. We're anchoring this unknown, non-physical into the physical. Second wavers are disseminating it like candy, so to speak. And third wavers are starting to receive it. Make sense? So to me, that when I have it from that perspective, and that's what was given to me from the higher realms, that's a very benevolent thing, because it suddenly shifts your perspective, like, oh, the world's not going to crap. They're just keeping the fort. See, third wavers have to keep the fort. They are holding the foundation so that we don't go insane. We need the banks. We need the grocery stores. We need doctors and healthcare until we can transform it. As we wake up, we're transforming it. But they're the ones holding it in place. The structures, if the structures all collapse, we wouldn't have been able to make it. So these third wavers are playing a very important role. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Questions before we take a break? Yes.
Yes, this is a question about the timelines. And that would be, there's just one unified timeline, you said, of Ascension. That is the one main one that we're all on.
Yes.
And then there's all these tertiary ones and personal ones. So how would you see, in terms of that, there seemed to be an organized conspiracy of cabal or Illuminati that is a very high level planning to keep trying to pull off that Ascension? What kind of timeline is that, or how?
Well, that's part of the Ascension timeline, but it's more of a tertiary when people get pulled off. So let me explain. In the third dimensional paradigm, in order for us to have the experience of unconsciousness, we needed certain gatekeepers. We appointed them. And these gatekeepers are reptilians, draconians, old global elites, Illuminati. They're in that bloodline. They feed off of the energy of pain and suffering and unconsciousness and all those fear-based vibrations. And their job is to hold the fort in place and to keep the third dimensional paradigm going until every soul has woken up. Isn't that awesome? No, President Trump stands on a wall.
Right, he does.
You cannot come into this future. And it has to take a tower, Trump Tower, to make sure that that old regime, understand, where does the old regime in North America live? Where's their base?
New York.
Mexico. They are the drug lords connected to the Roman Catholic Church. He stands on the wall. This is just a metaphor.
Right.
Who cares about a wall? We're not about division. He's holding the wall. You will not pass into this future. I am a tower that will not be knocked over. And it takes someone like him.
Yeah.
So if you understand that role, you don't hate him so much.
So what's the solution?
Okay, well, the solution is consciousness, the evolution of humanity, and what we're doing here. The solution is for everyone to wake up. But this is, to answer your question, the timeline is, that's an old paradigm that's in place, and your only job is to say, I'm freeing myself from it. And as I free and liberate myself, I will be of service and contribution in the highest and best ways I'm able to, with harm to none, including myself. Does not mean you become a martyr, self-sabotage and clear all those programs out. But ultimately, that's part of the Ascension timeline, because you have to liberate yourself out of it. Now, why it becomes tertiary, like I have a friend who, I do these healing circles with him, and every once in a while he gets off the phone with his one, off of the group. We do Lightworker, incredible channeling energy we just let the divine bring and flow energy wherever it needs to go. For example, when the government was shut down, through our group, our Lightworker group, we were told it's starting to hurt people. So we just held space to allow source consciousness to flow to wherever it needed to go in service. No interaction on our part, rather than just to be the channels and the vehicles for light to anchor, to go flow where it's meant to go. The next day, the government opened. I thought that was amazing. I was like, wow. So, but anyway, sometimes he leaves those calls and he's like, okay, we have to go off and we have some intergalactic wars to fight off these. And I'm like, okay, it's a tertiary timeline. That's why I'm not on it, because that's not necessary anymore. But there's a lot of male ego that still needs to win battles and fight wars, and they're not done. So they can go have their Space Invaders, Star Wars in the non-physical world and fight the bad guys. And it's a tertiary timeline. And it's very easy to realign because you're fighting for the good. But it's not necessary. It's a tertiary. Do you understand? Yeah. So when conspiracy people get drawn into those storylines, it's tertiary timeline. It's not the highest timeline, but you can play in that for a while if you want to get distracted, if you want to have an experience, if you want to learn about the dark and the cabal and all the terrible, horrible things they're doing. But understand, at this frequency, they cannot match your frequency of love. They cannot. So they're on that. It's a tertiary timeline. Does that answer your question?
It seems like the biggest thing that the line in the sand has to do with respecting the earth. Like there's people on the Ascension timeline are honoring the earth and wanting to take care of the earth, and it seems like whatever that other timeline is to not honor the earth and to.
Well, this is what I understand about the earth part, and I get this from Mother Earth.
Yeah. Okay.
She is elevating her frequency in combination with many other factors. We know this is measurable by what?
Schumann's resonance.
Schumann's resonance, right. The highest frequency on Earth can be measured by the Schumann's resonance. This is from Winfried Schumann, who was a scientist who learned to measure the resonance. And Mother Earth is increasing her resonance. As this is not just from Mother Earth, this is from intergalactics and from the organic ascension timeline, and from all of humanity oming every day, coming together in peaceful meditation. So as this happens, the density that's not taking care of the earth is going to drop out somehow or some way. Either they have to level up, or they're physically going to either bifurcate onto a separate timeline, and they'll drop onto a lower frequency. There's not one earth, you understand?
Right.
there's infinite Earths.
Uh-huh.
They're all on different timelines. So that's an option. It's a tertiary timeline because you're still witnessing it. And yes, many people are. That's part of the organic ascension timeline to become unified and care. So it's still playing out. But if it ultimately doesn't, if enough people choose that they're not going to care, that will drop off into a bifurcated timeline, still overlapping at this time. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Very cool. Yeah.
Is there going to be a time when there's no longer any intersection between the fifth and the third?
You know, I understand. What I understand is yes, but it's so transparent to us. And not transparent. It's almost like we don't see it because if you think about it, if there is a timeline where, for example, World War III happened, which of course there is a timeline because all things that have ever existed, ever will exist, do exist in the here and now moment. This is just spiritual truth, right? Everything that has ever existed.
Right.
Linear time exists over here. Over here, there's no linear time. Time, by the way, is a fourth dimensional construct. You create time with your consciousness. It's hooked into the DNA. There's programs associated with time in the DNA that have to be cleared out. They have to be cleared. But over here, there's no time. There's a new knowing. Everything's now. Everything's created in the now moment. Everything is manifested from a now moment of my thoughts, emotions, energy, intention, consciousness. So when you ask, will it eventually fall off? Bifurcated timelines have already bifurcated. In fact, and I'm teaching a whole class next week on past lives, parallel lives, concurrent lives, and timelines. If you understand that, part of what you're going through, if you go back to the storyline of like the measles and the mumps and all that stuff, immunizations, this is coming from a timeline where the plague is going on right now, and people are freaking out about the plague. And that's bleeding into this timeline. So when you ask, are they going to drop off? Yes, they drop off out of your reality when you, or all of us, because a collective timeline no longer vibrates in harmony with it. So once we heal as a collective these issues that we're not vibrationally choosing anymore because we're done and complete with them, if somebody still does, it drops out of your reality, but it happens so, it's like suddenly you just, it's subtle. Thank you for that word. That's the word I needed. Does that make sense? We don't really know if World War III happened, and yet at the same time we can tell for sure it did, but how many souls engaged on that timeline? And who cares? And in fact, we don't really want that. We hope it doesn't. Here's an amazing thing, which we may do tonight. I could go on about this stuff forever, but we're going to do a point where we're going to need to take a break.
It is happening now.
Right. But let me say this. It's so important. How a timeline collapses. Timelines collapse when you call all your soul fragments out of that timeline. This is unification of the soul. I do this all the time with my clients, myself, because you see, the average person in 3D, how much soul embodiment do they have?
Just
20%.
Less than 10%. This is the dumbing down of the human population. They're making it even less than 10%. People are robots now. This is why they want you to plug into a 5G grid. Over here, it's a 5D grid. Over here, it's a 5G grid. Over here, it's electronic. Over here, it's crystalline. The crystal grid. You plug into the crystal grid here. This is why crystals are so important. So when you call your soul fragments home and reunify them, why that face? You have a funny face on, no? You look like you were confused.
No, I was just calling back some soul parts.
Oh, we'll do that. you wanted, we'll do that. Write that down. But understand, here there's 10% or less of soul embodiment. This is what, 10% or less of the brain. Over here, we can start measuring. Anyone like pendulums?
Yes.
You can measure how much soul embodiment you have. So when you start crossing the bridge, it starts increasing. 20%, 30%. Last time I measured mine, I'm over 85%. But you can't do it all at once, because what happens is you can't handle it all. So you do a little, and it keeps increasing because you have tolerance to hold that consciousness, and those frequencies continues to increase. Make sense?
Yeah.
Can you just repeat the
part you said when timelines collapse.
Timelines collapse when you call your soul fragments out of that timeline. And you know when you've called something out of that timeline because you feel and know that you are immune and impervious to it.
Right.
You have no trigger to it. You have no, you might witness someone else, which means it's overlapping timeline. It's not your issue. I never, ever, 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 ever feel vulnerable to, for example, I don't even feel vulnerable anymore to chemtrails. Because I understand that's really a 3D phenomenon. Just because it overlaps and I see it, my frequency of love is too high. It just can't affect me. By the way, that's a download. That's an activation to become immune and impervious to things. Understand? Your DNA has the capacity for this. Okay.
How do you measure with the pendulum? How do you actively do that?
Oh my God, I don't think I have time for that because you have to know how to work with a pendulum.
Okay.
If you know how to work with a pendulum, you can ask, what percentage of soul embodiment do I have?
Okay.
Okay, you can muscle test if you know that. Muscle test will help too.
You
Yes.
said all souls get to awaken.
All souls have the choice. All willing hearts.
So are
You have
there
to choose it.
Are there new souls, or is it just souls that are reincarnated into generations?
Well, it depends on how you define a new soul, because there's no such thing as a new soul, because all souls that have ever existed, ever will exist, have always existed.
And will continue.
So in a sense, there's no such thing as an old soul. That's an old terminology. But on another level, you understand source fractals itself off to have experiences. And since the experiences are getting richer and more exciting and fuller and more consciousness is required to anchor and to transmute, souls are being fractaled to have experience. And at the same time, this is like a paradigm buster, you understand? Because it's like it's paradox. Two things that seem like they can't be true at the same time are true. At the same time, beings are reincarnating now because souls want to evolve. So some souls passing through by death experience, and sometimes in the past, this is a whole other experience, the old matrix would trap people, shove you back in, wipe your memories. We call that memory wiping. But now, because this matrix has been lifted, humanity's being freed from this third dimensional paradigm, some people are passing through and saying, I want to go back in and evolve more, but now I get to keep my memories. Who are they? Crystal children, rainbow kids. They're keeping their memories. So in that sense, this is part of why you have, on some timelines, it seems as though there's such a population overgrowth. By the way, there's not population overgrowth on the organic timeline. Okay, how are we doing here? Good. I'll take a few more questions and then we'll take a break. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the codes in the DNA, but let me do.
So going back to before you got on the timeline, talking about the timelines, and you're talking about how you evolved yourself to the point that you now have, like they're saying that you have this choice. You have the choice to do whatever you want. So how does choice relate to being on the right path? Like, you're here, kind of for a reason. You're here in service. There's, when you're on the right path, or when you're not on the right path. But then if you know you have this freedom of choice, so where did that knowing that you're on the right path, or if you're not?
So understand the question you're asking. It feels like it's almost a little channel, but I'm gonna block the channel for now. But the question you're asking is based on two sort of perspectives. When you elevate yourself out of, you're following your path. You're always on the right path. But when you say the word right path, you're right. What you mean, in a sense, is the path that's aligning you with love, peace, joy, and elevating your consciousness.
Or your purpose.
Yes, your purpose. First, there's a code in the DNA, which we will definitely activate. It's your original divine blueprint. It has your true mission and purpose in there. And your purpose is going to be joy, happiness, fulfillment. Nothing you need to learn. It's going to be what you love doing the most, that you would do for free, but you also are totally willing to be fairly compensated because you've already balanced the energy of giving, receiving, and exchanging. Okay, but nonetheless, that's a code. You're always on your right path, and your navigation is that which makes you feel excited and happy and joyful and optimistic and passionate is the right path. And at a certain point, you've cleared up and healed and resolved through this fourth dimensional paradigm, this bridge, the things that pull you and entangle you back into 3D. At a certain point, you know you're free of karma. That's not even a game you're playing anymore, because it really isn't. We're so free of our karma, but we have to know it. You realize there is nothing telling you anymore what you're supposed to do. I don't think most of humans are there yet. I don't mean that in a superiority way. I just think that's where we're going. And we're going to get there. I've only started to experience it myself. But when you're there, you're just like, you suddenly realize you are sovereign. You are free. You have I'm saying you, but I mean all of us, 100% and beyond control from that word, freedom to choose your reality. Nothing's pulling you in anymore. Nothing's pushing you. Nothing's entangling you. Nothing's guiding you or leading you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a game. It's a process, because what happens is as you activate and clear and resolve and integrate, and this journey, the more you realize nothing is making you do anything.
Yeah, it's just not holding on to that, like, am I on the right path anymore?
Yeah, but that's also a belief system. So let's just clear that. Let go. You're always on the right path because you're on your path.
Yeah. I think it's like
this is a trust issue, right? So if we were doing a download in this moment, we just download trust, like, because I'm trying to get to questions, but normally I would just download trust, download source, truth, point of view, perspective, understanding, definition of trust. Make your truth for everyone in the group. Your truth, your point of view, your perspective, your understanding, your definition, one and the same as creators on this topic of trust. That you know what it feels like to trust yourself. You know how to trust yourself. You know what it feels like and how to embody trust. You're aligned with the frequencies, the energies, the vibrations of trust and self-trust in the ways that feel good and right for you, your body, your being, your life, your living, and aligned with your highest and best truth on trust. Are you willing to receive this?
Yeah.
Yes. Take a deep, long, slow breath. Let it be, even on remote, wherever you are. Such an easy one. Just a little more. Let's integrate it. There we go. Nice. Now you don't even know that anything's gone on, except you just took a breath. You notice whatever you notice. It's done. Nice. So in the moment, you're like, okay, maybe something happened, maybe something didn't, but I breathed. I just let myself. But the next day or the next couple days,
I'm
you're
like vibrating so high right now.
yeah. Well, just wait till the meditation.
Yeah, it's what I needed.
Yeah. All right. So I want to give everyone a break, but I just got to say a couple things about the DNA codes, because this is what's important to understand about the DNA. I didn't even get into this part. It's so important for our topic area. The first two strands are the records of the ancestors. If it's a sickness, an illness, a disease, it's something that the ancestors did not resolve. They left a marker for you on your DNA so that you could resolve it. But what it is there's gifts. So for example, depression, you have learned helplessness. You gave up. You had futility, the futility of life. Nothing I do works. That's linked to depression. Diabetes, I have no sweetness in life, no joy in life. Cancer, I have old resentments and anger that have not resolved. If it's breast cancer, it's related to the mother or nurturing. If it's liver cancer, it's related to old anger, rage, we can go on and on. We can label all of this in the DNA. We can identify the markers. This is what I do for a living, right? It's easy to clear it out. It's so easy. Sickness is not in our future. We just have to clear these records and claim these gifts. That's the first two strands. The next 10 strands are the gifts that all of humanity will have. All of humanity. And that includes your original divine blueprint, which includes perfect and ideal health and well-being, the restoration of your body and being. It includes the elimination of aging, sickness, and illness. Okay, these things are not pills. They're not going to happen overnight. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and be 14. We're not making ridiculous promises here. We have to disentangle from a lot of other webbing, programming. You understand, a program is just running in the unconscious. We don't even know. It's like Excel on your computer. It's always running. Even if it's not on, it's holding the files. So we want to clear off the non-beneficial aspects, the things that are no longer helping us. It takes time. I've been working with this DNA for 10 years, but nonetheless, 15 years, but nonetheless, it's happening. So the 10 dormant strands are the gifts for all of humanity. When we go beyond the 12, way beyond into the etheric strands, 144, 244, 333, 444, that is the gifts you start claiming related to the unknown that's maybe knowable. We don't know all of it yet. We know it certainly has to do with connecting with our descendants. Because when we get into the 12 strands of beyond the first two, we're talking about the future generations. We are doing the healing for the future generations. Make sense? Some of the codes that will clear will be told to me. I don't know what it is. I listen to the non-physical realm once we start. When we come back, we'll do a prayer, meditation. We'll go into a meditation. We don't leave our bodies. We're not floating anywhere. We'll be totally connected. There'll be some talking, engagement, channeling. But whatever we're told, we may take questions. Like, I don't know. This part is unknown to me too. I let the group dynamic and the beings that come in guide us and lead us. And it's always unique and different. It's always dependent on the group. But what we do know is the activations are about our future. The clearings about our past and our ancestors. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And I know for some of there's already some of the stuff we're clearing for the collective. So if you hear me say like 777 activation, we're actually affecting the whole of humanity. There are 7 major fractals of source, the fractaled off from the original source that created all the subgroups of humans. So when we do 777 activation, and it's only when the universal laws come in and say we can do it, we're clearing for the whole of humanity. Is that amazing?
Yes.
It's incredible. All right, are we good, Deborah? Do you need to say anything?
I do. Do you agree with me? Isn't she incredible?
Oh, thank you so much. Oh my God, I love this. Yes, thanks you guys. So we're gonna take
a short break because we want to have as much time with her as possible. Yeah. There's water in the kitchen. You're welcome to go in there. There's a bathroom there. There's also a bathroom upstairs that way. So we've got 2 bathrooms to work with. And then we'll be back in about 5 minutes as much so we can get right in.
Simply representational of the old system, not being able to pass into the new system.
Right, but then it seems like the new system is in the US only, and that's
not what I said at all.
Okay.
Do you see that as a beneficial role?
Symbolic.
Yeah, well, I don't really want us to get consumed by this conversation.
Yeah,
Let's not. It's more important. I can spend 20 minutes talking about it, but it'll eat into the more important stuff that we're gonna do. I'm very neutral on it. I have just a higher perspective on it.
Okay, can we get Deborah to just bring us back on?
You want to start it?
I wanted her.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, again. Yeah. I just want to welcome you back to what's going to be now a very experiential session for the 10th Long Pleasant Hill and the amazing Lori Spagna. And as I said before, the frequency and the level that you're all at is what's going to help create this at the level that we're going to receive. So really happy about that. Love you all.
Thank you. Okay, so just before we get started, first I just have to acknowledge Celestine here. are, what is this for, live streaming, and you've just been so amazing. And I'm sorry I didn't even say it earlier, how wonderful you've been welcoming, and I'm just so grateful to you.
I am just so honored to be present.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I totally.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. The other thing I just want to say, 3 quick kind of announcements. There are 3 sessions available tomorrow. If you're in, only 3. If you're interested, you can ask Deborah afterwards. They're one-on-one here, and they have to happen between. I don't do privates anymore, but if you really are someone who really wants one, you can ask. The other thing is, if you are interested in coming, I just want to give a plug. I'm bringing people to Arkansas. So we have a private retreat with Starseeds and Lightworkers, and we work with the crystals. We actually have private digs on a private mountain. We pull crystals out of the earth. We do all kinds of crystal grid work and Lightworker Starseed work, meditating, communicating, and healing with the crystals. There's flyers for that. It's the weekend after Labor Day, and we're on a private in the middle of Lake Wichita, on Lake Wichita in Mount Ida. It's incredible. Anyway, it's fun and friendship and beautiful cabins and incredible. If you would like to join us. The other thing I just want to mention is that I have a sacred membership group. So it says over hundreds of hours of DNA activations, classes, and content and stuff for people, animals, stuff on crystals and Ascension and just timelines. And just, if you like what you got tonight and you want more of this, you can take a flyer if you like. It's a year-long membership, hundreds of hours of content, energy clearings, PDFs, it's a whole class on the secret energy of money and the spiritual laws of wealth, and just so much information. There's a coupon code on here if you take the flyer to save $100. That code will be deactivated at the end of the, it's supposed to be at the end of the month, which is tomorrow, I think, but it might be May 1st.
And I'm going to make one announcement.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think at the end we're going to be in a whole other vibe. And I just want to acknowledge Celestine again,
Yes.
my amazing school teacher.
Yeah.
And she is very much like Lori Spagna. She has been on the deep spiritual path for a long, long time. She's very intuitive, very connected with galactics. That's our temple kitty.
Sheba. She's just trying to figure it out.
And Celestine just released her book, The Galactic Earth Council. And so we are going to be sponsoring a telesummit with Celestine on May 23rd. These are what these flyers are. And it's understanding your star origins and family and awaken to the galactic consciousness. So she's very deep in this ascension reality through the galactics. It's really amazing. So it's another wow. So this will be on all my lists and on the temple newsletters. I just wanted you to know.
And I'm on page 186, and it's amazing. I can't put it down.
Look at who Sheba went for.
She's in the good juju.
So speaking of animals, when we do this, I'm going to start with the prayer, and I'll lead you through the breath before I actually say the prayer, so you're already breathing and relaxing when I do the prayer. But I will say it. I'll remember now that I'm saying it, but we bring in our animal companions, not someone else's. We honor the laws. The universal laws say we can always do work on our own animals, not someone else's. So that you can invite in all your animals, even if they've crossed over. And the way you just do it is you just mentally either see them and or say their name. I like to do it 3 times. You're calling their consciousness to your consciousness. Their consciousness comes into the circle, and they benefit energetically. You invite them into the circle. Every time you say yes, your animal is getting a yes too, because by divine universal law, your animal has contracted with you that you're responsible for them. So they can receive the benefits. They have all the DNA, all that stuff, that everything we have, they have it too. And also for children under 17, not over 17. Then they have their own, right? But if you have a child, you can invite them in the same way to receive it. And your yes for you is a yes for them, right? When I work with animals, I will telepathically ask them, but in this circle like this, you're always working with your free will. So once we start doing the activations, the healings, if you hear something you don't want, you can say no, thank you. And you just do it in your mind. You're going to want it all. But if you do think something feels awkward to you or you don't like, you just say no thank you to that. Everything's based on your free will. So I translate it all. Sometimes it's very wordy. And if it's really wordy, just you're listening. So your brain is engaged. It's not one of those altered states meditations, but it is really high vibe. So you'll be somewhat altered. And you say yes to whatever you want as you want it. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So let's start getting into the space. And we'll once again restate our intention to receive maximum benefits, which serve, support, and assist us in the highest and best and most benevolent ways possible with harm to none, as is uniquely appropriate for each individual and for the greater good of all beings concerned, for the collective, again, with harm to none. So now, get yourself comfortable. You want to have your feet on the ground if you're able to, and you want to let your body move however it needs. By the way, if I didn't say this, please, no cell phones, right? Do we have them all turned off? Is that an automatic? Off, not even, yeah, because it can be really disturbing for the meditation to people. So just, you're allowed to move your body however you want and whatever your body needs to be comfortable. And as you get ready, you start taking breaths. Now, if you're an advanced breather, the breath can begin in the belly. It triggers the breathing apparatus from the belly. But if you're just getting used to this stuff, you start breathing in through the nose. You start taking long, slow, deep, comfortable breaths in the nose. And whenever you feel ready, you let your eyes close if you feel comfortable as and when. There'll be points where you open your eyes, of course. And begin to identify the breath as a breath of love. The frequency and the vibration of the breath that you're breathing is love, or peace, or both. And you start to feel this breath as it comes in through the nose. You feel yourself breathing it. You feel the very breath of love. And you recognize that as you breathe it in through the nose, it goes straight back to the center of the brain. And it moves down to the back of the brain where the pineal gland and the pituitary gland sit. You feel this breath of love go into the brain, and you feel it as it expands the brain cavity and opens the cave of Brahman, where the cave of Brahman is where the pineal gland and pituitary gland are housed. And then you travel this breath. It's long, big, slow, deep, full, comfortable breaths, your own natural pace. And as the breath goes down back to the brain, it now travels into the throat. You fill up the throat with all this love and this peace. You feel it with your mind. You feel this breath traveling, and then you feel it as it travels down the breathing apparatus and starts to fill up your heart center. It expands the chest, the rib cage into the back. And you notice your body is still just getting comfortable. You're starting to go into homeostasis, relaxation. And you let that breath travel from the heart center down into the belly. And it expands the belly center. And it's in every direction, right? You're just comfortably breathing for you. This is just getting set into the relaxed state. And then a deeper, fuller, longer, slower breath goes down from the belly into the reproductive center. And this breath of love is expanding in every direction, just comfortably breathing. Now this breath of love goes even deeper now into the buttocks. And you just feel it expand. Still, body's just getting comfortable, relaxed, prepared to receive. Just getting yourself in a preparatory state. And this breath opens up the buttocks, the tailbone. Now you drop this breath of love down through the floor beneath us. And this is energetic, so your love breath is reaching into the earth. Down through layers and layers, through the earth crust, and rocks and dirt, minerals and sand, through ocean depths, ocean floor, penetrating through empty space in the center of the earth, and just reaching this breath down into the crystalline core. This is the crystalline grid, the crystal grid network inside the inner earth. Now there's no way to do this wrong, it's intention. So you wrap this breath of love in, through, and around the crystalline core. And you breathe more breath of love. And now you allow this love to start to come up through the layers of earth. The crystalline consciousness recognizes the love frequency and rises up to meet you. Remembering there's no way to do it wrong. You're just breathing and relaxing. And now crystalline consciousness starts to come up. Christ consciousness rises up from the center of the earth, through the ocean floor and all the ocean depths, and through sand and dirt and rocks, minerals, and more dirt and rocks, and up through the floor beneath us. And now this breath of love with the crystalline consciousness rises up into the buttocks. And now another breath, you breathe deeper, longer, slower, richer, fuller, comfortable. And there's a crystal energetically in your, just rising up through your buttocks area, like just that base chakra. This crystal radiates out love in every direction around you, building a field of energetic love, a container around you, like a ripple effect in every direction. And this crystalline energy now rises up with another breath, long, slow, deep, comfortable, relaxing, into the reproductive center. And just like a ripple of crystalline consciousness and love, it ripples all around you. You're building a container of love and crystalline consciousness around you, your body. And it ripples out, you breathe again, deeper, longer, slower, fuller, comfortable. And it rises up now into the belly. And this crystalline consciousness ripples out in every direction around you, all around you, building up a container of love and crystalline consciousness. And with another long, slow, deep, comfortable breath, you rise it up now into the heart center. And this crystalline consciousness once again ripples out in every direction, building a container of love, peace all around you, filling you up with crystalline consciousness and reverberating through your fields. And now you rise it up again, this breath, deeper, longer, slower. Your mind feels the breath as it comes in and as you exhale comfortably for you. And it rises from the heart center now, every direction around you, up into the throat now. And just like crystalline consciousness expanding through and around you, rippling out in every direction, you breathe again. And you feel this breath of love, this breath of peace. And it rises up into your brain. Now, in the cave of Brahman, you know exactly where it is. You don't need to know, you just let yourself know. Your consciousness knows exactly where it is. This crystalline consciousness goes straight into the pineal gland and pituitary gland. Breathe deep, long, slow, comfortable breath straight into the brain. And allow the crystalline consciousness to ripple through and around you in every direction like a pond, rippling out and expanding your consciousness and opening that center. Now breathe, longer, deeper, slower, more comfortable, and reach towards the top of your brain. Right under the scalp, you just keep breathing love and reaching and feeling with your breath, feel with your mind, the top of the brain. There you go. That feels better. Just keep reaching. Top of the brain, under the scalp. And just wait till everybody's there. Top of the brain, breathing love. Feel for the top of your brain, under the scalp. And allow the crystalline consciousness to rise up there. Breathe some more. Feel for the top of the brain. Feel with your mind for the top of the brain, under the scalp. Almost everyone's there. You just keep feeling, breathing, reaching for the top of the brain under the scalp. There you go. Nice. And this crystalline consciousness ripples out in every direction around you. Top of the brain, under the scalp. Now, breathe deeper, fuller, longer. This time we're going to reach up to Solaris, the light of the Son of God. The name of the Son of God is Solaris. Just like Mother Earth, Gaia, Tara, Son of God is Solaris. Now, energetically reaching up, 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 beyond the stars, beyond the planets, all the way to the Son of God, the divine source, sunlight, Solaris, And now breathe up through that light of sun and breathe it down to you. So let the sun radiate its light and all the frequencies of light. This is in your mind. No way to do it wrong. The sun is shining all of its light down upon you. And it's coming right through your crown. So now breathe that light once again to the top of the brain, under the scalp, and just see, sense, feel, and imagine the light of the Son of God shining its light down on you, right into your crown. And now it's radiating out this sun and this light in every direction around your crown. Good, nice. And take another deep, long, slow breath. Let the light of the Son of God travel into the brain. Feel it fill up the cave of Brahman, and feel all this light activate gently, lovingly, the center of your brain, pineal gland, pituitary gland, activating, awakening, opening. Nice. There you go. Just breathe it down. Fall down deeper into your throat. Down into your throat. Let the light of the Son of God expand the throat center in every direction around you. You're not leaving your body. You're in your body. And let this light of the Son of God travel into the heart center and fall into your heart. Drop down into your heart. Now, as you fall into your heart, you're coming more and more embodied. You can feel your body. If you feel like you're losing or floating, fall into the body even deeper into the heart. So the crystalline realm from below is meeting you in the heart. You're breathing all the light of the sun into the heart and drop down deep, deep, deep into the core of your heart. You feel your body and you feel all aspects of your physical body. And at the same time, you drop deeper and deeper and deeper into the heart. With every word I say, with every breath you take, with every word of the prayer as it is spoken, just keep dropping into your heart. From above and below, you fall into the core of your being, inside of your own heart center. And you just keep breathing as is relaxing for you and comfortable for you and your body, dropping deeper into the heart. Divine Source, Creator God of all that is, infinite love, infinite light, infinite wisdom, infinite consciousness, infinite presence, original Divine Source, Creator God of all that is, we call you forward here, now, present, fully conscious of each and every one of us here now. Divine Source, Creator God, embodying us here and now, welcoming you home into us. Surround us, infuse us with your infinite consciousness, wisdom, love, light, presence. Coming fully home, present, conscious into us. Allow what needs to be said today to be said. Let what needs to be heard today to be heard. Let what needs to be known today to be known. Let what needs to be healed today to be done. Let what needs to be done be done. Let it all be done in the highest and best, most benevolent ways possible for all beings concerned and with harm to none. We also call forward the benevolence of the non-physical realm, angels, angel gods, angelics, and archangels, coming forward here now to surround us, infuse us, assist us. We also call forward our divine goddesses, Kuan Yin, Mother Mary, Mary of Magdalene, Mother Mary, Mary of Magdalene, Mariama, Green Tara, White Tara, Sarasvati, Paravati, calling forward all divine goddesses, Diana, Rihanna, Isis, many more coming forward. Thank you for your beloved assistance, your divine goddess presence. Thank you for joining us here today. We also call forward our most benevolent star family races, our star families who are ready, willing, and able to assist us only in the highest and best, most benevolent ways possible for our highest and best good and with harm to none. We call you forward. We welcome your presence. We welcome you here into the circle to join us today. We also call forward the animal kingdom, the consciousness of the animal kingdom, to serve, support, and assist us, to shed light on our consciousness, to help us to expand our consciousness. We call you forward to be present with us, this healing and evolutionary journey. We also call forward ascended masters, all ascended masters from the non-physical realm to assist us, guide us, lead us. Let all beings be served in the highest and best and most benevolent ways and with harm to none. We give thanks for all we are about to receive. We know we are united in our collective intention, and therefore we know unanimously agreed, and so it is done. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. We let it be done, and it is done. Good, so more long, slow, deep breath, and as you are falling deeper into your heart center, breathing and receiving and aligning, I'm going to listen first. Yes. So first we're going to line ourselves up with the center of Mother Earth and the crystalline core. And there's nothing you really need to do except allow your own higher consciousness here and the divinity that's with us to align you with the center of Mother Earth and the crystalline core. This is an alignment that realigns and rebalances, prepares you for a full alignment and balance, body, being, and consciousness. As you're breathing now, and this base core chakra is base chakra is opened, aligned with this center of the earth. We're also aligning ourselves with the center of the galaxy. You may notice a few subtle body movements. You may notice your body slightly shifting. And anything that needs to relax, that's fine. Anything that needs to move, that's fine. You just take another breath and fall deeper into the heart space and allow this alignment. Now between the center of the earth and the center of the great central sun and the Son of God, Solaris, between this field is you, your embodiment, and at least 144 chakra energy centers that will now naturally start to attune and align. And you just breathe and allow this alignment to happen for yourself. Breathe deeply, fully, wholly, and completely. Long, slow, deep, comfortable breath. You fall deeper into the heart space. From the base all the way up to 144. There's nothing for you to do necessarily. Just know this is a part of your consciousness, knows exactly what to do. And you just allow it. It's just an attunement. Nice. We have Divine Goddesses stepping forward first. And I'm listening. Paravati, Saravati. Many Divine Goddesses joined here now. And of course, this is a time for the resurrection of the sacred feminine and the re-clarification of the higher knowing regarding feminine and masculine energies will be provided here now for this group as you all are coming into alignment with your sacred feminine and your sacred masculine. The sacred feminine is your ability to align with all that is. Feminine is all that is. Feminine allows. Feminine accepts. It simply is all that is. As you come into alignment with your true sacred feminine within you, all that is you. You are all that is. You are all that is. You are all that is. Your sacred masculine, Jesus stepping forward here. Yes. And more divine masculine energies, more ascended masters here, especially coming forward, almost many ascended masters here, even Einstein here. Understanding the divine masculine. The divine masculine is your ability to create, to actively participate, engage in the conscious creation of your reality. Your ability to take action, inspired action, to participate in divine creation with your consciousness and in physical action, reaction, movement, collaboration, conscious creation. This is your masculine energy. Masculine energy moves, feminine energy exists. All that is you. You are the divine feminine. All that creates is you. You are the divine masculine. As we unite here, this balance in the divine feminine and the divine masculine, now with your consent, we shall balance and integrate and further activate these aspects within you, your divine feminine and your divine masculine. This activation will also align your left side and right side, brain and body, heart, all aspects of your consciousness, feminine, masculine, all aspects of your hormonal system, including circulatory system, including reproductive system, all major systems and organs in the body will be rebalanced naturally and naturally come into a divine alignment as is uniquely appropriate for each individual body and being, and only as always, as is for your highest and best and most benevolent good. If you are willing to receive this now, this is a time to give consent, and remember that this will also serve, support, and assist the animals and the children under the age of 17 who have been called into this circle. This is a significant moment, for it is important for you to realize that many of the children, particularly the babies, will not even require such an activation. However, if indeed that is the case for them as individuals, will only serve them in ways that support and assist that they are already balanced. Therefore, now would be the time to give consent if you so choose. This is the divine feminine coming forward to do this activation. Each individual be worked on individually and also as a collective. Divine masculine also serving here now. A few moments of silence while this is done and complete for those giving consent. Your job is to breathe and receive. You simply notice whatever you notice, even if it's nothing. Rather, options to fall deeper into the heart space and simply allow. Yes. The consent is yes, please, or yes, thank you, either mentally or verbally out loud is fine.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Nice. Only moments here now. And of course, for those listening in delayed playback and remotely, just as effective. This energy is not limited to time or space. Nice, ready for the next. Divine Source, Creator God of all that is coming through here now. As has been requested, there will be clearings from the DNA. This is appropriate for your group now as you are prepped, primed, and ready. First, we will identify certain codes in the DNA which are non-beneficial to you, which are no longer required for your participation in the physical reality. Number 1, crucifixion codes. These are associated with your separation from the divine. Powerlessness, hopelessness, torture, suffering, pain, etc. Also linked into the religious patriarchy, however, not limited to it. These crucifixion codes are no longer a requirement, no longer certainly not non-beneficial to you. If you are willing, they are ready to be lifted, identified, lifted, removed, and dissolved, and taken away, transmuted into love and light. Now, for this particular part, please notice your job is simply to breathe and relax. It may feel slightly like a splinter being pulled out of your body, or you may notice nothing at all. Either way, it's fine. Whatever you notice is fine. Breathe, receive, consent, and allow. Let it be done. What? Can you hear me make this sound? I'm sorry, it's a little joking. It's because energy's moving, right? Density moving out of the field. Okay. Yeah. Whatever you notice is fine.
Whoa.
High consciousness beings do notice it, right? Even if you're not noticing, it's fine. There we go. Replaced with divine source consciousness, primordial love, primordial peace. We have universal laws coming in. They're right behind this. Thank you. They come next. Primordial love, primordial peace, primordial joy, and divine compassion, replacing that which has been cleared, removed, and dissolved and taken away, transmuted into love and light. Breathe, receive, consent, and allow. Yes. Just notice whatever you notice. Nice. Okay. Universal law standing by. There's a message coming through first. Divine Source, Creator God, ready to pull the next code. Unnecessary for this group since it has been identified. The codes associated with the Armageddon programming. Programs, implants, explants, points of view, perspectives, ideologies, frequencies, energies, vibrations associated with Armageddon programs and implants. Negative alien implantation. The Armageddon programming. That you never again shall fear and or concern yourself with doom and gloom. That you never again shall fear and or concern yourself with end of timeline, end of game scenarios. Armageddon timelines link into other timelines. You may feel feared. Do not identify with the fear. Identify with the love. Armageddon programming that is being cleared may bring up temporarily a moment of fear, a moment of remembrance of other timelines, Atlantis, Lemuria, other sunken cities, end of game scenarios. It's being cleared from the field, gently, lovingly, benevolently, with harm to none. Never again need to relive this and or recreate it. It is done. It is done and complete.
Yes.
Gently, lovingly, benevolently, yes. Allow the divine source, Creator God of all that is, to identify it, lift it, remove it, dissolve it, take it away, transmute it into love and light. Take it up. Take it up. Go. Many masters in this room, many masters in physical form. We are blessed. Okay, good. Universal laws stepping in want to do this. So we are attuned. Universal laws come in. Many laws here now. Providing consent for a 777. Understand, there is enough of a consensus in this room that the whole of humanity will benefit from the healings today. The whole of humanity will benefit. That which has been done already will also be provided. With the 777 activation, the laws are in agreement. Enough are consenting. All beings concerned, willing to provide and assist our brothers and sisters on earth, your brothers and sisters on earth. As the laws agree, this shall be provided, that only as it serves the greater good of the whole of humanity, so it shall be done. If you're willing, ready and able now, to gift these two so far and those to come, to the whole of humanity, your brothers and sisters on earth and all animals, all beings, all consciousness. Allow it to be so that all shall benefit only as is for the highest and greatest and only according to the law of one. If you're willing now, give consent and let it be done.
Yes.
This is the business of Lightworkers. Just notice whatever you notice. Nice. Okay. A divine source creator God stepping in once again. Original divine blueprint ready to be activated for all beings. Again, this will also be provided for the whole of humanity according to the law of one, and only as is in accordance with the law of one. If you're willing to have the original divine blueprint within you, this is the first. Your original divine blueprint is as unique to you as is your thumbprint, and it exists in your DNA. Prepares you and will allow for future activations to be amplified and accelerated as you are ready, according to your body, your being, your life you're living, and only as is for your highest and best. Your original divine blueprint is waiting. If you are ready now, give consent and let it be.
Yes.
Deep, long, slow, comfortable breath. Remembering the animals. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Now, this is a collective, a sub-collective, original divine blueprint for all humans. This is a shared human blueprint. This particular human blueprint allows for the remembrance of the true human. The true human, organic human, is not hybridized. This individual human is an aspect of hybridized races in the future. However, it is free from interference, which is non-beneficial and or non-benevolent for the evolving human. This is a sub-collective exclusive for the true human design. Certainly serves your highest and best. And if you so choose now, breathe, receive, consent, and allow.
Yes.
This particular activation bypasses animal kingdom. Sub-animal kingdom. Humans are part of the animal kingdom. And this reference to the animal kingdom is those animals which are not human. Okay, good. Nice. Thank you. Green Tara stepping forward, and white Tara working collectively, coming forward. This is a Tara activation, collaboration between green Tara and white Tara. The recognition that it is time for all of humanity to be freed from the need to suffer, to become impervious and immune to the requirement of suffering. The recognition that there is no requirement to suffer, that you have the ability, the willingness, the deservability, the consciousness to extract yourself from any experience of suffering with effortlessness, that you are liberated from all suffering. Especially for those of you, and there are many of you in this room who have taken the Bodhisattva vow. This will remove the Bodhisattva vow. Those of you who know this Bodhisattva vow, which is a vow to remain in human reality until suffering is complete. This lifts the Bodhisattva vow and extends the gift of liberation from suffering to all beings. If you're willing to receive this activation now, the gift of Tara, please receive it now as you consent.
Yes.
Like a lotus from a flower of the lotus shall notice this awakening from within you in the coming days, weeks, months, years. and all your future to come. You will notice within yourself and your life experience how effortless it is for you to free yourself, to realize you never again need to suffer. It's our honor and privilege to give this gift today. It was yours all along. We merely held it sacred for each of you. It's been within you. Nice done. Archangel stepping forward. I'm going to take a step. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Good. Nice. Yes. Archangel stepping forward. The archangelic realm. Many here now asking who's first. And Saint Germain, not far behind. This is a tool many of you will know, coming from the gift of the angelic realm. A sub-collective within all angelics. It's the gift of forgiveness and freedom. It is a piece of channeled information. Thank you. Please accept this gift on our behalf. You will use this gift many times in your future as you engage and disengage from physical realities, from experiences which you choose to liberate yourself from. It is a gift of the golden chalice. This gift of the golden chalice will allow yourself to free yourself from any experience, person, place, or thing which you would like to free yourself from, which would like to provide liberation for yourself. You simply envision and see the golden chalice. It is before you, a golden chalice in front of you. You breathe in and invoke the angelics to fill up the golden chalice with energies of forgiveness, peace, love, and compassion. You may choose to witness and or envision the roses which symbolize these energies. Red for love, yellow for forgiveness, white for peace and purity, pink for compassion, or any other sacred symbol you choose to place in the golden chalice. You simply breathe and fill up the energy in the chalice. You place any sacred symbol you would like to put in this chalice. You may invoke the angels and the archangels to place anything in the chalice for you. You put the chalice in front of you as this is done with your mind, envisioning, and then you gift this chalice to any person, place, thing, or experience which you choose to be liberated from. You leave it at the feet, so to speak, of this person, place, thing, or experience. And then you ask the angels, particularly an archangel, such as, for example, Michael, to use his sword of light to cut all cords and connections between you and this person, place, or thing, leaving them only the energy of forgiveness, compassion, love, understanding, purity, whatever it is. And then you simply release yourself. Many of you may know this simple tool. However, this will allow you to experience a kind of liberation which you've never known before now. For this will be a sacred tool you will use again and again, and you will find it to be one of the greatest service. For example, that which is speaking, that's which has been spoken, many experiences which you would like to be liberated from. For example, experiences with your government or your TSA, or your banks or banking institutions or your schooling systems or your healthcare institutions, that which you would like to be done and complete with. This will free you and liberate you in ways you cannot begin to imagine as you use it, especially in interpersonal relationships, which may have been harmful or hurtful or upsetting to you. This is a gift. We offer you all the chalice now in front of you. Allow yourself to see it and know it is there. Allow us to provide to you the gifts of consciousness associated with this chalice, that it is your tool and your knowing forever. You know exactly how to use it. You have exactly the right words. You can call upon it at any time. Let this be so. If you're willing to receive now, this is yours.
Yes.
Palladians stepping forward. We are your brothers and sisters of the Palladian High Council. We're most honored to join you here today. Most excited about humanity's awakening. Most optimistic, for we know where you become. We know who you become. You are us. We are you. We have traveled through time and space to unite with you here now. We exist as a ninth dimensional collective. There are many of us. All of you in this room here now, all of you participating here now, whatever here now moment it is, wherever you are physically, are part of our family lineage. This is why we are within your same galaxy. We are all connected to you. We would like it to be known, and this is true. We are governing this galaxy now. Your galaxy is moving into other space. It is true and real. We are benevolent. We are here to support, assist, and serve as humanity awakens. We only want for that which is in alignment with your evolution. We know this is already done. Conceive of reverse engineering. The outcome is assured. The outcome is love. The outcome is peace. The outcome is unification. The outcome is remembering. The outcome is realignment. It is true. You can trust in this knowing. We would like to link you with your Palladian star family. There are many sub-collectives in the Pallades. Not all are directly linked to the same sub-collective, but all are linked. If you would like to have more remembrance of your star family, your unique individual sub-collective, your lineage related to the Pallades, this is a time to give consent. This is coded in the DNA. This is your star markings, some of them, not all of them. And if you're willing to have these particular star markings activated and awakened with a gentleness, that's right, for your life, your living, and according to your unique individual life and living, body and being, this is a time to give consent. This also will serve the children and the animals as well.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Just breathe, notice. Notice whatever you notice. Good, thank you. I get the joy too. Okay. I'm listening. Crystalline Kingdom coming in here now. I'd like to activate the crystalline DNA. Understanding all of the DNA has crystalline frequencies. 12-stranded DNA has crystalline frequencies. 24 strands, 44 strands, on and on, all has crystalline frequencies. However, The original crystalline frequencies of the DNA are lying dormant, ready to be activated, which will further, like a domino effect, activate others in divine timing, as is appropriate, as you are ready, and only when you are truly ready. If you're willing to have these initial DNA activation, crystalline DNA, this is the time now. Consent and allow if you so choose. Especially also for animals and babies who are included in the circle. Remembering the 777 activation here, this is allowed and consented according to the law of one. The whole of humanity shall benefit. This is why Lightworkers and Starseeds and Wayshowers and Change Agents are brought together here now, for you are the gifters of all of humanity. Nice, good. Notice whatever you notice. I have Animal Kingdom stepping forward. There's others wanting their turn. So still more angels, archangels, and Saint Germain. Who first? Asking. Animal Kingdom would like to share. We know there are those of you, in fact, all of you here, who care greatly for the animals. And for this, we give our deep and sincere gratitude. Our animals, those of us walking the earth, have a collective consciousness, which is coming through here now. And also, these beings, those of us walking the earth, we are also ascending and awakening. We are also choosing expanded experiences, more compassionate and humane treatment. We would ask and invite for you to hear this message. It is significant. In order to help and assist the animals who walk the earth, it is of utmost importance to choose to engage from the perspective of joy and love and celebration for the improvements which are being made towards the treatment of animals, and to completely remove your life force and your energy from the pain and suffering that has been placed upon the animals. As you choose in a conscious way, without resistance, place your energy, your life force, your joy on the good, the desirable experiences that animals are having, and the ethical and humane treatments that are evolving for animals, such as grass-fed, such as elimination of forced breeding, such as non-GMO, such as organic farming, etc. As you place your focus, more of this will come to pass. And the animals will be treated with more benevolence. Refuse to engage in the old toxic behaviors of sharing pain and suffering. If this is exposed in your field, do your best to disentangle your energy, to process your pain in a healthy way. We know you are sensitives. We know this hurts. Clean up the energy as fast as you can and disengage as gently and with grace. Grace is the absence of resistance. This will serve the animal kingdom. This is our desire as well. For as you choose differently, so shall we all benefit. And this is said. Okay, I'm coming back to these angels. How's everyone doing?
Very good.
So we are going to be able to make some requests. I'm going to need to make some chicken time here. Oh my time. I have to lost track of time. Oh my, I'm way over.
How's everyone doing?
Great. Do you guys want to keep going?
Yes.
Okay. I love it. I just know sometimes people have had enough. So we have these angels here that want to do some Metatron. And it's like the 4 M's, they come forward. It's kind of funny to see the M's lining up here. So the first request is to do a Metatronic activation of the palms. This happens often, and also Melchizedek does this with Metatron. So it's the order of Melchizedek comes in. So the request is to place the palms upwards. And they're putting patterns of sacred geometrical patterns in the palms of the hands. These are already encoded in your hands. They're sort of activating them. That's what they're saying. And so what this Metatronic and Melchizedek, order of Melchizedek, wants me out of the way. Order of Melchizedek here. This activation will enlighten the sacred geometrical patterns which are naturally found in your blueprint. This will further allow each of you to provide with your touch healing to all beings who you touch. There's nothing you need to do. There is no thinking required. This is a gift that all humans have made. Indeed, all animals, all of life on earth has agreed by a sacred decree for the Ascension timeline to share palm to palm, hand to hand, healing through love. No consciousness is directly required once this activation is provided. You simply need to consent. Your touch will spark the light in those you touch. Those you touch will be somehow activated, almost like a ripple effect, almost like what you often refer to as 100th monkey. All will benefit if you're willing. Simply infusing the patterns of sacred geometry which are already within the palms of your hand and further activating this with your consent. You breathe and allow. Now you may feel and sense a slight pressure in the palms of your hand. It will be benevolent and gentle. You breathe and you relax and you allow. Now while this is done, Gabriel, Uriel, Asriel, Anael, Chamuel, Archangelics, Michael, of course. This is an activation we've done often. Behind the shoulder blades exist 2 energy centers, peach-colored in vibration, frequencies of light. Often it has been told the story of the descended angels who came to earth. All of you are among us. We are among you. You are the descended angels. Your wings have been clipped and cut, but not lost. They hide behind the shoulder blades. They do not exist in the physical world, however, they are real on the ascended realm, the etheric realm. And when these shoulder blades are reopened, the wings sprout, and the lights are recognized in the non-physical realm, and your light shines brightly. It makes you very attractive to other angels who will bless you and honor you on your journey and support you with all number of things. Anything you request, any dream that you have. Easy transportation, safe transportation, effortless transportation is one example. Anything you can dream up that's benevolent and enjoyable for you. When you're noticed and seen, the angelic order, by the wings that flap behind you, you'll find your lightness of being effortless. All manner of gifts. The angels are among you, and you among us. If you're willing for this, allow. As you're breathing and allowing, you simply bring the breath to the back of the shoulder blades, one by one. All will be activated. This will not be visible on the physical realm, and certainly not at this point in time and space, but there will be future times, in linear time, future moments. Those among you will be born with wings, and it will impress in the physical world. It may seem absurd at this moment in time. Rest assured, it is real. Breathe and allow. Just notice. This will also assist lightness in the shoulder blades, a relief of some of the heaviness many of you carried upon your shoulders, for carrying the weight of the world has been so heavy. Nice. This will continue throughout the remainder of your evening until it's done and complete. You're free to move on. We have Crystal Kingdom coming forward. And this is patterns of sacred geometry in the DNA. Dodecahedron, star decahedron, sacred geometrical patterns in the DNA that will help attune your bodies to original states of perfection and health. Your bodies will naturally conform gently and over divine time to these formations, sacred geometry, sacred geometrical patterns that will assist you as you evolve into crystalline bodies, light bodies, still physical, just a different frequency of physical. And eventually, many of you will go on to be able to fully embody light body, to be able to fully transform light body. Many of you will learn in time to pop in and out of the body. That will be assisted through this activation. Sacred geometrical patterns within the DNA now being activated with your consent. True for the animals and the babies too. With your consent. Breathe, receive, consent, and allow.
Yes.
This will also assist in communicating with the crystal realm and your future star family races. Just notice full integration. Nice. Nice, good. We're going to call back soul fragments now, as we had talked about earlier. I'm listening. Divine source, creator, God, orchestrating this particular one. Highest, clearest, purest, original source. Now, with your consent, first explained and identified, then completed. Locating and identified all aspects of your fragmented soul that rightfully belongs to you. Original rightful owner. Returned to you, the original rightful owner, as a single soul occupant. You are a single soul occupant, one soul embodied in one physical form and body. Now it is time to reclaim your fragmented aspects that you've left behind on other timelines, on other points in time and space that allowed for those experiences. As these are identified, only that which you are able as an individuated being to reclaim at this time, they will first be cleansed and blessed, bathed and purified, harmonized and divinitized in the love and the light of divine source, creator God, and then return to you, the original rightful owner and a single soul occupant, only that which rightfully belongs to you, and only you, whoever you are, know exactly who you are. If you're willing now, this will be the time. Well, first Lifted out of those timelines, cleansed, blessed, bathed, purified, harmonized, and divinitized now. The love and light of divine source returning to original rightful owner, reclaimed. Breathe deeply, long, slow, comfortable, relax, and allow. Okay, good. I want to tell you something that my human ego did because I have multidimensional conversations going on here. So when this activation was happening, I asked and said, oh, we should have asked them to test before and after how much embodiment they had as a medium, like as a middle for the group. And I said, now it's too late. And Source said, the consciousness I got said, oh no, you can go back in time and test for then and test for now. This is what I'm going to do. For the group collective, I'm just going to muscle test really quick. And I want the highest, clearest, truth. This is my ego talking. But for the group and among the group and asking for higher truth, higher knowing. For the group as a collective, what was the average embodiment we had prior to this activation? Highest, clearest, purest truth. 10% or more, 20% or more, 30% or more. If you understand muscle testing, it was between 20 or 30% or more. Is this true and accurate? Between 20 and 30% or more for the group? Yes. Any more than that? No. Now, after this, what we just did, what's the percentage for the group on average for the amortized percentage? 10% or more, 20% or more, 30% or more, 40% or more, 50% or more, 60% or more, 70%. Between 60 and 70%. Is that accurate? Yes. Between 60 and 70% soul embodiment for the group on average. Yes. Can you see that? Yes. Amazing. Yes. This is going to affect your, thank you. This is going to affect your experience of great and harmonious way for humanity. As you have embodied more of your soul, you will come to see that more of your gifts come online almost effortlessly. You will see this in the coming days, weeks, and months. Your experience is going to change forever. You're never the same, not from one moment to the next. However, you're still carrying a linear story. This is fine. As you experience your linear life, you will be changed forever. You will come to know. You'll experience it for yourself, and it will be glorious. Let it be so. It is so. We're going to do one last piece, and then we'll wrap for the night. Is that okay? Are we good? This is coming from Divine Mother and Mother Earth. This is about honoring the baby in the womb. At the moment of your conception, at the birth of your unique individual soul, the moment you fractaled off and decided to incarnate into a physical form, from the birth of your being, in this now moment, wherever you were, whatever it was, whenever, time, space, insignificant. In this moment, when you as an individuation of source became an infant of the universe, of reality, of the galaxy, of all that is, as an individuated being. And certainly in addition, the moment that your unique, individuated human was born into a womb and came through the womb. This is the moment that your inner child, the childlike innocence, shall now be held in the arms of the mother, the compassion of the divine feminine, the unconditional love, the primordial love of the divine. And at this moment, you are a baby in the womb and an infant of all that is. The divine mother, the divine feminine, true compassion, unconditional love will absolutely embellish you, infuse you, surround you, envelop you, and bless you in this original, perfect, pure, primordial love, divine love, primordial compassion, divine compassion. And child within you will know love and experience this love. And every mother who birthed a baby, your mother who birthed you, every mother who birthed every mother before you, will receive and experience this right now. Simply allow for it is to be so. And all of Mother Earth, as a birthing baby of her own, as a mother of her own, shall also experience this, and it shall reverberate through the whole of existence. You shall now and forever know yourself as truly loved. There's one final piece to this too, and this is the gift of your ever being, the being that has ever been and ever will be you, the being that created you, the God that you are. Now holding you, surrounding you, this love. Drop every breath, every aspect into your heart center. And allow this love to envelop you and to surround you. Become you. You shall know yourself as love and consciousness. That you shall know yourself as peace and consciousness. That you shall experience yourself as the embodiment of the divine. Indeed you are. You always have been. Okay, so we're going to come out of this now. I could go on. I didn't get to do questions, but I'm so like requests, but I'm going to let you. So as we start to come out, we remember we have not left our bodies. We have not moved out of our bodies. We have not taken anything on from anyone else, because before we even began, you built a container. But before you really wake up or come out, let's just let and allow pure, perfect gold. There's no envisioning here. This is real. Just let it. Pure, perfect gold surround your container, and only yours. Pure, perfect platinum surrounds that pure, perfect gold. And pure, perfect crystalline surrounds that pure, perfect platinum. That all that you've become and all that you've taken on, taken in, transmuted, everything that has been resolved for you and integrated and aligned is within you, contained within. Nothing is interfering. You are contained within your field, and your field is strong. Now, as you come into your body, you allow yourself to stretch and move whatever needs to move without kicking anyone. Before you fully come back, just let yourself surround your arms around your body And give yourself any acknowledgement you need. It usually sounds like this. I love you. I adore you. You're amazing. I bless you. I honor you. Thank you. You guys are ready. How's everyone doing? So, a few parting words before we get up and say goodnight. Number one, please don't leave until you really feel any lightness. Just move your body and get in. Number two, please do not watch anything violent on TV or news for at least the next 24 hours. Number three, drink lots of water. You already know it. If you have green liquid chlorophyll, if you don't have it, get it. A dropper full a day in a glass of water. Really good. Will eliminate anemia overnight for animals and people. And sleep well. And I want to say thank you so much. I know there were like incredible people in here contributing, like masters coming through. So thank you so much, Deborah and Celestine. Love you guys. Please make sure and take, if you want to join me on the crystal journey, I think there's flyers in the kitchen for these too. Want to crystal journey flyers? How are you guys doing? Good. This was your first time with this, right? Oh, good.